Welcome in your weekend almost here. It is Friday. It is Friday the 17th of July. Should be hot, right? It is. It is. And it's going to be hot all weekend long. We're going to try to get you into it in a great way. Bruce Marshall's going to join us here in about 25 minutes or so. Drew Hill, who is now with the Daily Memphian and, of course, very knowledgeable on the Tigers, but now working the Grizzlies beat, and they're going to have a little media availability right before he's on with us at 4, so we'll get the latest from Drew on the bubble. Thomas Harding, Hitman Harding, the Prince of the Preps. If you remember when he was with the Commercial Appeal, he will be with us at 4:30 to talk baseball. He writes for MLB.com. Our agent in Chicago, Andy Schiffman on the NBA. That'll happen at 5 o'clock. The ever-popular, always famous, always interesting, heck yeah, hell no. Drew has prepared the toughest of questions to ask. That'll come your way at 5:30, crunch time at about 5:50. Good news today. It comes from the Shelby County Health Department. There will be fans on July the 25th allowed in AutoZone Park to watch the 901 FC. It'll be the first time in Memphis that we'll have a sporting event that will have people. There would have been people at the WGC. Make no mistake about it, that was the tour making the decision not to allow fans in. But the Shelby County Health Department said today, I guess about 10%, I think it seats about 10,000 for soccer. There will be 1,000 allowed in for that game on the 25th. The way that will work is you will have an assigned entry gate. There will be health and temperature screening, and then you can go in. Now, the 1,000 ticket availability will first go to those that already have season tickets. They will get the first opportunity. But, Brett, that might be the best news that we've heard in terms of Shelby County and the COVID in a long time. Good afternoon. It's so good to kind of see you through the glass.
Good afternoon. I'm over here. Hey, how are y'all? I'm doing well. Thank you, Dave. It's good to see y'all, too. And glad to be in the building, although not very close as we are staying socially distant. But it is great news for the Memphis 901. Much better than on the pitch Wednesday night, but great news. They do play again Saturday night. And we need it to go off well because you would hope. So that's 10% of capacity.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's play that out. Let's say it goes off well the balance of the month of July. Maybe, hopefully, they raise it to 25%.
That's what you need.
In the month of August. Well, the month of August is getting close to Liberty Bowl Stadium time and Tiger football time, and August goes well for Memphis 901, and maybe some other law of large numbers go well. And college football's kicked back a week or two, maybe 3 into the latter part of September, maybe the 1st of October. Who knows? It's kicked back too. But by then, who knows? Maybe they've raised it to 40%. I think that is really wishful thinking, but I'm trying. Costs just as much to be positive as negative. I'm trying. If we got to 30 or 40% of capacity at Liberty Bowl Stadium, well, 30% of 60,000, we know what that is. That's pushing, as Athletics Director Laird Veach said, a spot where they wouldn't get mauled financially.
Well, he said yesterday the 15,000 season tickets they've already sold. If they could get those people in the game,
would hold them in good stead,
then they could make it. So that's 15,000, which is, you're talking about basically 25%, and 10% is not there. 20% would be, where you go, okay, it's close.
But if we could get on a good roll,
really close.
Right, that's close. You're right, Dave, and if we could just have a little positivity. We're not going to outwish ourselves out of this, though. This is unlike anything. Around I've said this before, and I did this around 9/11. We could get under that warm blanket of patriotism. I mean, fire Lee Greenwood, fire the anthem, wear our lapel pins, have our flags out. I have mine out all the time anyway. We could rally this one's not going to be Lee Greenwooded. I mean, we can play God Bless the USA all we blessed want to. It's not going to make it go away.
No, what has to happen, let's be honest, is we got to wear the masks, and you were, until we went on the air, I give you a lot of a tip of the cap. You were wearing that mask even in the building when I came to chat with you for
I do
for a minute.
I do everywhere. And now Monday mandated in the state of Arkansas.
Well, I know. And if I'm out in public, I wear that thing. If I go into a restaurant, even to sit outside, which is my
I had
thing,
my temperature taken.
I
don't want to. I don't want to infect, imperil. It would crush me to my last hour if I hurt someone else. I'm not that worried about me.
So
I'm really not.
Yeah. So what my sense is, if we do that, and you've seen the stories where if we do it for 6 weeks, we can really put another lid on this thing and curtail it.
Let's do this
to a really good amount. So I'm all for that, and that 6 weeks would get us really September. Okay. Now here's the other good news of the day for me. And that came early this morning on NBC. Dr. Fauci made the statement that he felt by December or January there would be treatments that would be out there. We know that there is
treatment or vaccine.
I can't remember the terminology that he used, honestly.
I'll take either.
I think we're really looking more toward treatment than we are vaccines at this point, because I'm not sure that with the way this is working. If you look, there was a study that was done, and I think it was by Harvard, that the antibodies in your body now are only going to last about 3 months, which is why you can get it again, which is why you need a treatment as opposed to a vaccine.
I think one of the CNN anchors has had it twice.
Well, I know Cuomo has had it once. I don't know who the.
I think one of the morning anchors. I think. Is it Brooke Baldwin?
I'm not sure.
I'm not. But you're right, Dr. Fauci. Very positive today. Now Moderna and Oxford of England, they're the leaders in the clubhouse for vaccine, and they say whoever they are, and they say that both would work because one is really effective short term, one's really good long term. As we're learning every day, the real pitfalls of some of the lung respiratory stuff, even for people that recuperate, that get well from it. But Moderna said today, if they got it today, you don't roll your sleeve up until July 1.
Right. And I think Oxford's a little bit further along with their, I don't know if it's testing or production for that matter, or maybe the combination of the two, and that I believe that was what Dr. Fauci was referring to.
Texture said Dr. Fauci did say vaccine. Thank you,
he said
Texture.
Vaccine. Thank you.
We trust you. We got a lot of trust here.
Yeah. Any way you look at it, if the science says that thing will work,
take it.
And we've got it, then I think we return to some form of normalcy.
All right, let's say Dr. Fauci misses it by a month, and it's January 1, 2021. What a New Year's Eve party where we all go roll our sleeve up and get a shot.
Instead of a toast,
and blow a
you'll
big
get
horn.
a shot.
You get a shot.
Yeah.
Give me a shot of anti-COVID, but and a side shot of Maker's Mark. But so January, I think we'll need a month or two to see A, effective rate, B, number of people that take it. That probably wipes out the college basketball year.
Well, it could.
And go into these bandboxes.
Honestly, it might be a year from September when we can really start sports as we know it.
I mean, how can the NBA not go fanless next year when they know one, but a very important market cannot host home games until April 1 in Philly?
Right. Although I've seen some clarifications that there could be exceptions in Philadelphia pertaining to that rule.
And there should be to everything.
Yeah.
I mean, today's fiat can be tomorrow's gray area.
No question. I'm just saying the Fauci news today was good for me. The fact that the Shelby County Health Department, and I think they've been a rather conservative group, a cautious group. I know with Dr. Haushalter and with Dr. McCullers from Le Bonheur and UT Health Science, they are really cautious.
I want my doctor being cautious. I want my doctor telling me the truth and being cautious. I don't want to walk in and go, oh, Brett, everything's fine, and it's not.
They're the ones that are saying, okay, we're going to allow 1,000 out of the 10,000, 10% to go to AutoZone Park for the soccer game. That's a beginning. If we pass that test, if on August the 4th, 10 days from the 25th, we don't have a spike from those people, we do contact tracing maybe from those people, and it's good, that is your first real sign of maybe we can slightly get better here.
We'll take baby steps, won't we?
Yeah. I'll take any kind of step. I'll take a crawl.
And today, I think that there's a lot of bad news, and we're going to get to it. We give you the good graphs.
Yeah.
We give you the bad ones. We give you the good data as we get it. We give you the bad ones, and every time the text line lights up on good and bad side, we're gonna try to tell it all. We're gonna try to be reasonable about it today. Major League Baseball and the Players Association announced COVID-19 test results through 7/16. 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Half dozen, cousin, of 10,548 samples, or 0.05% positive. That's really good news.
That is incredible news. Let me just say this. This comes because it's from results through yesterday, correct? The 16th?
Through the 16th. That's yesterday, correct.
So that's saying to you or to everybody that they gathered a couple of weeks ago. They've been together at the ballpark playing intra-squad games with umpires, and the umpire samples are in there too, and they're the ones that are right behind the catcher, and we've only had 6 cases the whole time. That's a real positive because that to me,
I think we're going to try to start
is
next
a
week.
real test because they're not in the same kind of bubble the NBA is. So if these guys can do it without that bubble, then now you start to feel a whole lot better.
Look, I'm wrong a lot, and I hope I end up being historically wrong on my pessimism for college football. So I'm here to take my whipping on being wrong a lot on predictions and games and stuff and opinions. I'm wrong. I try my very best not to be wrong on point of fact. But on opinion, I miss. Who's going to win the Super Bowl? I missed last year. I thought it'd be the 49ers. Dave dragged me into the Jimmy G phenomenon. So how tough, if Major League Baseball starts Thursday night with the 2 games, and then Friday with the 14, then the weekend that follows, how tough should the listening, viewing, reading public be on Buster Olney, who said 5% it starts, 0 it finishes? If they play next weekend, he was 95% wrong, wasn't
he? Right, he was. And
I don't think he should be pilloried.
No.
But
no, and we're not there yet. And I will tell you
not there yet,
I've had my moments of doubt too. When 11 umpires opted out, that scared me.
I believe when that first pitch is thrown Thursday night. They don't even know where they're going to play Thursday night.
Buster Olney on me now?
No, I'm 6%.
I'm way over 6% on that.
They don't even know where they're going to play Thursday night. There's a chance the world champion Washington Nationals will host the New York Yankees in a Class A ballpark in Fredericksburg, Maryland.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. Some of these college, why wouldn't Ole Miss and Arkansas, some of these college baseball palaces, say, hey, in a pinch, if you need a place. Now, Oxford has been a hot spot. The mask, everybody that's having a fit in Arkansas and in Shelby County, the mask has been standard issue in Oxford since about April 10th.
I remember you talking about their mayor, honestly.
Mayor Robin Tannehill, I know her well.
And I just saw her on one of the newscasts the other day.
Lovely person and a great mayor.
And terrific mayor.
Got a son that's going to be a kicker at Ole Miss in a few years.
I believe she got COVID. Didn't she? I
didn't know that. I don't know that, but it hit a lot of people in Lafayette County.
I do know this. The mayor of Atlanta, who's been
Mayor Bottoms, yeah,
she's got COVID, and she's been she's being sued by the governor of Georgia.
Oh boy,
just because she had a mandate.
Now she also, it could be quite a year for her.
Yeah,
get it, survive the virus, and be the running mate.
Could be. She's sharp.
How hard one?
She's sharp.
Would you take a chance? I shouldn't chuckle. I really shouldn't. Would you take a chance at the virus, but you can be very close to being the vice president, the second most powerful person in the world come next January if you win? Would you take that chance? How hard one? Would you take the virus?
Absolutely. She's got it. She doesn't have a choice.
And I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say that. I was thinking presidential order of succession, and look, if he wins President Biden on election day, he's 78.
I know. No, there's no doubt about it. Veering back quickly to sports, a discussion I really want to have with Ted Butler on Monday.
Are y'all still on speaking terms?
I think so.
Oh man,
I think
the broadside you gave Ted, a good man.
He is a good man.
You just crushed him.
Not a very good picker, but he's a good man. Did you see Jack Nicklaus and what he said?
Well, he's been on fire
the Golf
all week.
Channel.
Mad at the tour, mad at the USGA.
He's mad at the tour about folks being allowed to come to
everything he's
the memorial.
saying has been needed to be said.
But here's the biggest point: when you see a 423-yard drive like Bryson DeChambeau had, you got to do something about the ball. And he went right after the ball, and he went right after the USGA.
Ball's been on fire forever. But
he said, you know what he said? He said, I've been talking about this now for 43 years, because he was a guy who was with the ball they had out driving the golf courses. He said, I've been talking about it for 43 years. It's about time you make some decisions on it.
But John Harden had a great comeback to that. 50-year-old Jim Furyk's 4 under right now, and he's hitting the same ball they all are hitting.
True. But the bottom line is a golf course is designed in a particular fashion. These golf courses were not designed for a guy to hit a golf ball 423 yards. Just not.
Not in tournament play.
Or a guy
maybe at a Monday scramble.
Guy to hit a 180-yard pitching wedge. They just were not.
The ball is on fire. This hour brought to you every day. They're on fire. They're doing very well, and they appreciate you at Lexus of Memphis, 2600 Ridgeway, and online at lexusofmemphis.com. 901-362-8833. Great offers on all 2020 models. Stop by today at Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and put yourself in the driver's seat of an all-new 2020 flagship LS500, and you'll be looking and driving in style. Don't forget complimentary first and second maintenance services on all new Lexus cars. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design, and that makes for the luxury driving experience. 901-362-8833. Online at lexusofmemphis.com. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
In news stories, this is not necessarily coronavirus related, but there will be a city council vote next Tuesday. The strip of Poplar Avenue between Front and Danny Thomas, which goes by the Justice Center, they will vote to rename that stretch of Poplar Black Lives Matter Avenue. Today, another bad day for the amount of cases, 408 new cases. The good news, 0 fatalities. So the totals, 15,678 cases. We hold at 233 deaths. 10% of the area hospital acute care beds are still open. 90% of the ICU beds, I take that back, 10% are open, and 10% of the ICU beds are still open. We've gone up a 5% growth in the ICU beds the last week. However, the good news is hundreds are still available if the surge or continues or grows. Best news of the day was the vaccine, according to Dr. Fauci, could be here by December or January. In the United States today, we've now got 3,730,000 cases. We've had 35,000 fatalities. I take that back. 141,000 fatalities. We had 35,000 cases today across America, so that is not the best of news. We have now had 1,000,000, almost 700,000 recoveries in the state of Tennessee, 71,540. We are nearing the 800 mark in fatalities. Mississippi, 42,000. and they're up 1,032 from just a day ago, and they have 1,032 fatalities. Arkansas, 31,114. It has been more active of late with 341 fatalities around the world. 14 million cases now, 595,000 fatalities, 8 million recoveries.
My top story, you can have all, and I wish them all well, you can have all the MMA, NASCAR, soccer, and golf you want. But starting next Thursday and a week after that, baseball and the NBA, they have to start, they have to manage it, they have to crown a champion, or until there's a vaccine, there's no promises on any other sports until well into 2020. Everything else, and it's hard to do, everything else needs to bat at or near 1,000. That's really difficult.
That is for sure.
Not top story of the day.
Oh, this one's a heartbreaker. After, I think, a little over 2 years, the honeymoon, done. Danica Patrick.
Oh, no.
Aaron Rodgers.
What happened?
Splitsville.
Thought love would last forever.
Just 6 months ago, she was talking about
I'm crushed.
how great it was.
I didn't have time to get him a gift.
How he was gifted athletically, interesting to be around, loved to travel, loved to grow, was
watch
the
sun
term
ups
she
and
used.
sunsets.
And then she blocked him on Instagram.
No.
She didn't show up to watch him in Tahoe last week when he played golf.
Oh, that's the end of it there.
It's over.
It's over.
It's over.
That blocking on Instagram, you know you're done.
She had her publicist just put out a word.
Did it the old-fashioned
way. They are
way.
no longer a
Had her
couple. No
publicist.
longer a couple.
Did it the old-fashioned way. Had her publicist tell him to scram. Hit the bricks. You're done. Well, boy, it's really hard to top that. Not top story, but I'm going to try. I promise you, when I came in here today, I wanted this, and it's been adopted around the SEC, and I think it'll take over around college football. This year, if you don't want to play, no rancor, no remorse, no recrimination. You'll have your full scholarship. You should. How about this, though? This hadn't been adopted yet. How about everybody across college football and basketball? This year, you play, you have that year back. If you're a junior, you stay a junior.
I'd be okay with that.
Why not?
I would.
It's not my money.
No. What do you do seriously? And I've been thinking a lot about this because I really love this kid and I love his family. I think they're wonderful. And that's Brady White. What if you're Brady White? This is already your
keep on
sixth
playing,
year.
man.
You're gonna go a 7 year. Can he get a second doctorate?
How many degrees does he have?
He's already got undergrad, master's. He's working on his doctorate now. What do you do? Do you become professor?
Do you get every degree they offer?
So you know how we've got it. We go, he's a freshman. He's a redshirt sophomore. He's a junior. He's a fifth year senior. He's a graduate student. Could we have? He's a professor.
I wonder how many college hours he's passed.
Lord knows.
Over
I'm
200?
serious. He could be a professor if he gets his doctorate now, and then he doesn't get to play this year, and he came back. You would go, the quarterback is Dr. Brady White. He teaches Business 101.
Wow.
Easily over 200. It takes 120 to get an undergrad.
That's what I
then
thought,
I think
24
another
for me.
90
Boy, last
to
three
get
was
to
great.
get a master's.
Yeah. For just a general bachelor, a BA or BS, about 120 to 124, right, Drew?
Yep. Because you got to average 30 hours a year.
He's easy over 200.
When you do doctorate,
Ask him that first locker room interview, Dave.
I will. When you do a doctorate, is it hours still?
I don't know, Dave. I never inquired.
I don't know. I didn't even go to grad school.
I never inquired, Dave.
I hate it for all of us, but we got that in common.
No.
Okay. That's your top and your not top stories of the day. When we come back to Vegas, we go. Bruce Marshall joins us in just a minute. This Friday edition of Sports Time on Sports 56 is officially underway.
Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy get you through the midday with Sports 56 Middays. Delivered by FedEx. Weekdays from 10 till 1 on Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
Did you know Geico's now offering an extra 15% credit on car and motorcycle policies? That's 15% on top of what Geico could already save you. So what are you waiting for? Your teenager to help around the house?
Okay, Mom, I emptied the dishwasher, vacuumed the basement, and folded the sheets out of the dryer.
Wait, what?
Oh, and next, I'm going to clean Mitten's litter box.
Are we in some kind of prank show or something? That's a camera, isn't it?
There's never been a better time to switch to Geico. Save an extra 15% when you switch by October 7th. Limitations apply. Visit geico.com for details.
These are tough times for everyone, so dealing with your timeshare may not be your biggest concern. But when this passes, do you still want a lifetime of payments, fees, and commitments for a timeshare you were misled into buying?
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, CEO and founder of Wesley Financial Group. 10 years ago, I started the timeshare cancellation industry by exposing the ugly truth about timeshares and giving folks the straight facts. I've been fighting the timeshare giants ever since, so no one knows this industry better than me and my team. Today, we have over 200 employees and have saved our clients an average of $65,000 in lifetime payments. Imagine putting those timeshare dollars back in your pocket. Give my office a call today. I guarantee if we take you as a client, we will cancel your timeshare contract or you'll pay nothing.
Call Wesley Financial now for your free information kit. 800-967-7711. That's 800-967-7711. 800-967-7711.
Hi, this is Jay Farner, CEO of Rocket Mortgage. Making the right financial decisions has never been more important. We can help guide you to those right decisions now when they matter most. Mortgage rates are near historic lows, so when you call 833-8-ROCKET or visit us at rocketmortgage.com to start your refinance, you'll be well on your way to saving money every month. The rate today on our 30-year fixed-rate mortgage is 3.375%, APR 3.59%. Right now could be a great time for you to take some positive financial steps forward with a cash-out refinance from Rocket Mortgage, which could give you the boost that you're looking for. In addition, we may be able to help you refinance with little or no out-of-pocket costs. At Rocket Mortgage, we're committed to every client, every time, no exceptions, no excuses, giving you the best mortgage experience. Call us today at 833-8-ROCKET or go to rocketmortgage.com to learn more.
Rates subject to change. Pay 1.875% fee to receive this discounted rate. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brett Norsworthy.
We like to party.
Welcome back into the Family Leisure Studios. Bruce Marshall from the Gold Sheet will join us here momentarily. A reminder, you can now get your 2021 swimming pool at 2020 pricing. If you get to I-40 and Whidden Road, you can save because you're going to get that price on a new 2021 pool at the 2020 price. And by the way, they're pretty much out of everything. They have had one heck of a summer. They really have. But the deal is you will be first on the installation list for 2021. This is a good thing all the way around. By the way, patio furniture, because we are literally halfway past the middle of summer here, 20 to 30% off. The play gyms are back and in stock. You can beat the heat, and it's hot out there. With an indoor game, you can get a table or a slate pool table. Any kind of fun indoors, they've got that for you, too. If you want to still have fun in your pool, the pool toys and the floats, they're up to 30% off. Just get to I-40 and Whidden Road.
And Dave, before we get to Bruce, great job, Drew, on getting with Family Leisure and getting that piece of patio furniture replaced over at Dave's. He hadn't even recognized that we broke on that wild party night while he was away. But they'll do that for you. They'll mix and match and replace it where you'll never know it was ever broken.
It's really funny that you say that. Now I get it. See, we thought
we put it right.
We had these
right
lounge
back where it
chairs, expensive lounge chairs. Seriously.
Yeah, it was. But Family Leisure took care of us.
And what we have these arms. And
that's
literally,
the one that broke off.
Squirrels were eating these arms. I'm not kidding you. So we did get the parts.
Wasn't squirrels.
It's you?
Yeah, well, but we got it fixed.
Gosh.
It was a good party over at your house while you were away.
Oh, I had a blast.
I'll bet you did.
Man.
This is a sad story. This is another one of those not tops. I want to get in because it's just breaking. And I want to get it. Yasiel Puig, has he, he's just a hard luck guy, isn't he?
It's like
I
Michael
think he's
Beasley.
a little mashuggy, but he's a hard luck guy.
It finds him.
Yeah, it does. So,
but boy, when he's locked in,
he is a free agent. So he signs this deal with the Braves, right? Contingent on him passing his COVID-19 test. He's tested positive. He's no longer a Brave. Now he remains a free agent.
Somebody will pick him up when he gets clearance.
Sure, as soon as he goes through quarantine and everything
Maybe
else.
back in Tinseltown.
I would suspect that he will. Wow, that lineup's already loaded,
isn't it?
In Tinseltown. Bruce Marshall joins us now. We are less than a week from the first pitch being thrown. Will the first pitch be thrown? Mr. Marshall, good afternoon. How hot is it in Vegas?
Whoa, it's really hot here, Dave. I'm 111, 112.
Ooh.
So you know what? Yeah, 100 is okay. I've been used to that for a while, but you can never get used to it when it's 110 or more. It's just that's a different sort of hot.
But it's a dry heat.
Well, yeah, but I was in Florida last week, and it was about 88 there, and it felt like 97, 98.
Boy, Bruce,
112 still feels like 112 wherever you're at.
And so much for that March fancy talk, and that I bought into it. The heat would burn out the virus. It's not.
Yeah, more. I know. I wish that was the case, but I guess not.
Well, speaking of things that we thought for sure, how shocked was the city of Las Vegas, honestly, that they got nothing, that the United States got nothing when it comes to the NHL restart, that it went to Toronto and Edmonton.
Yeah, I guess, and in the end, it turned out to be a little bit of a shock, although not really right at the end there, because we sort of knew that Vegas was out of the picture. Vegas has had, like some other spots, had a little spike up in some of the corona numbers, and then that I think contributed to it. There may have been some other political things going on. Yeah, I mean, for a while, Vegas seemed to think it was in the front spot, at least to get half of the NHL playoffs, and instead getting nothing. I'm okay with that, though. I mean, Edmonton should be fine, and Toronto for the other half, and so they're both in Canada, and I think the numbers don't seem to be as bad up there, and the NHL has done, it's got a serious set of protocols here. They were expecting the teams and the players to follow, and they're going right into the playoffs. I like the way the NHL is doing this, and a little bit more than the NBA, because you're going right into the playoffs, and so these games are going to mean something right from the start. So I'm very encouraged about the NHL, and I'm okay with it being up in Edmonton and Toronto.
Bruce, we'll talk more about this next Friday. I know it'll be the day after the season starts, but close enough. I don't know. With 60 games, we might need to get you on the record today. Who do you like out of the AL and NL for both LCSs and for World Series? And is there a team out there? Mine's San Diego. Dave hooted and catcalled me yesterday for it. But I love the Padres. I love the Padres. In fact, I'm going to pick the Padres to win the West over the Dodgers. Do you have a dark horse team that could really go deep if we got to an October? Please, let's get to October.
Yes, the Phillies. And I say that because
Joe Girardi.
The last 2 years, it just doesn't mean anything what happened in spring. I mean, they had a really good spring. That's 4 months ago now. The last 2 years, the Phillies have started out really well. The first 2 months of the season, they were 31-23 out of the gate in 2018. That was kind of a surprise. And last year they were 33-22, and then things started to sort of go the other way for them. Now, here we come into the season. The offense is still pretty interesting there. They've added, Gregorius is there now. I think these guys can score a lot of runs. But they've added, into the staff there, Zach Wheeler, as long as he pitches. Now, his wife is having a baby in the next week. So he has talked about, we'll see about him, but he has generally indicated he's going to pitch. He could end up being a real plus for them here. And over from the Mets, he's got some very good stuff. We were talking to Wayne Krivsky, the ex-MLB executive, on VSiN a few months ago, and I asked him why the interest in Wheeler was so high, and he said it's because he's got the stuff tantalizes, and he's the same age as Madison Bumgarner, but he's pitched 1,000 less innings in the majors. So he said he's a young 29. And if Wheeler comes in there along with Aaron Nola, the pride of LSU, that's a pretty good at the top of the rotation. You still got Arrieta there, Velasquez. I mean, they could. Given their propensity for starting quick the last couple of years, this is only a 60-game season.
Right.
This team is notorious for getting off quick, and there's some questions about some of the teams in the East there. I mean, the Nats are going to have a few guys not there. The Mets are going through a franchise sale, it looks like. The Braves are still pretty competitive, but I think the Phillies are my sleeper team to watch.
What do you think is the number of wins it takes to win a division or to make the playoffs?
At low, it's probably, mid-30s, 35 or so. I would think that would give you the best chance, and anything above that, you're in really good shape. 40 would be definitely there. I'm looking back to 1981, which was the only thing sort of comparable to this. The second half of
About
that
105
season.
games played.
Yeah, and the second half of that season actually went a little bit less than 60 games. They were about 54, 55. The teams in the second half that won that year, Royals were 30-23. The Brewers were 31-22.
Cardinals
the
got
Astros
robbed.
33-20. The Expos 30-23. So the only team more than 10 games above 500 was Houston in the second half of 1981. So that's why I'm thinking, 35 gets you 10 games above 500. That might be a magic number.
Bruce, we've gone over a lot of things through the pandemic, and one of the fun things that you've done on other shows and even with us, I think Dave will enjoy, and we held it to this week, you have discussed all-time running back duos in the NFL. There aren't many of those anymore. So many teams now are one back or are empty. I mean, a lot of times there's no back there. And I love it when a running quarterback like Cam Newton gets in the shotgun and there's no back there. He's either going to run it or he's going to throw it. It's pretty simple what's going to happen. But historically, some of the great running back duos, and would this qualify? Do they both have to kind of be prolific rushers, or would it kind of count? Does it have to be thunder and lightning?
A blocking back? Is that what you're counting?
Yeah, could you count Moose Johnston clearing the way for Emmett?
Well,
you could. I mean, there's a lot of different ways to answer this, and this came up for me in the show I do in Denver a few weeks ago, and Jim Kick's passing. Jim Kick went to Wyoming and played a year for the Broncos late in his career. So it came up, and obviously the Dolphins 72 came up, and that was the question that day. What was the best running back or a three running back combo? And you figure for one season, Zonka, Mercury, Morris, and Kick would have to rate consideration. Two of those guys gained 1,000 yards. There's a couple of different ways to answer this, but I personally believe the best backfield in NFL history.
Can I guess? And I haven't seen your deal. When you brought that up, the first thing that comes to my mind, and it pains me to say this, but it's just the combination of the two.
Really, three.
And it would be Horning and Taylor.
And Elijah Pitts.
Oh, I forgot about Elijah Pitts. So that would be three, which is, I think if you were saying three, Zonka, Morris, and Kick would be more famous than the other.
And you could even throw in for some important carries Chuck Mersine with the Packers, Bruce.
Sure, for 67. Yeah, definitely.
Donnie Anderson
Travis Williams, too.
was in there in some stretch, wasn't he?
Yeah, but I'll tell you the one that and there's different ways to analyze this. I'm going to say the 65 Browns. Could be 64 Browns. Could be the 65 Browns as well.
Jim Brown
and I qualify. The reason that you put an asterisk here because Leroy Kelly did not get a lot of carries until Jim Brown retired.
Right.
But in 65, Kelly, in his second year, led the NFL in punt returns. And Jim Brown was still there. Jim Brown was incomparable. And Ernie Green was a very good complementary back. Ernie Green, Leroy Kelly, and Jim Brown combined.
I got to be honest with you. I hardly remember Kelly and Brown ever playing together.
No, they didn't. But this is a backfield on a team with three backs.
And led by
Kelly
Jim Brown.
didn't flourish until Brown left. But, he's on the team in 65. He's in the back, and he led the NFL in punt returns. Those three combined for about 24,000 yards. You won't find three running backs on the same team any better than those three. When Kelly retired after 74, now he did play in the WFL for a little bit at the end. He was the fourth leading rusher in NFL history. Only Jim Taylor, Joe Perry, and Brown were ahead of him. So you had two in 65. You had two of, at one point, the top four rushers in NFL history on your team.
That's amazing.
Now, Kelly didn't play that much because Brown was there. But I will maintain, in my way of looking at it, those three guys together, and Ernie Green's numbers were not bad. I mean, he's comparable to Kick and Morris, too. and Brown was incomparable. So I'm going to say the 65.
That's a good
Brown.
one.
Almost
That
any
is.
backfield that had Jim Brown in it, I think, would win.
What about Dwayne Thomas and Walt Garrison? And Calvin Hill kind of as a third.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, they were good, but when
Dan Reeves,
they were yeah. I mean that would get in the conversation, I think. But when it comes to Brown, I think he was so incomparable, and the Kelly thing makes it a little difficult because they didn't do as much, but he did lead the league in punt returns as in 1965. So he's on. That's your backfield in 65.
That's a good
it's Ernie
one.
Green, it's Jim Brown, and it's Leroy Kelly. And you only play two of them at once, but the Dolphins only played. I mean, they rotated those guys quite a bit in 72. They never went all three of them at once. But those are my best three running backs ever on the same team in the 65 Browns.
So if it was a little different angle, if you were picking the two greatest running backs on a team, I think the Bears would get that. They would get it with Walter Payton and Gale Sayers.
Well, yeah, they never played together.
No. I'm not saying you had to play together. I'm just saying
historical, yeah.
Historically,
guard to top.
Yeah, or I might say the Browns still because of Brown and Leroy Kelly, because Brown was incomparable.
Yeah.
And any measure where he's part of it, it tilts to the Browns, I think, strongly. And like I said, when Kelly retired, he retired as the fourth leading rusher in league history. That's a pretty figure. Two of the top four NFL rushers are on your roster
That's
at the
amazing.
same time.
That is amazing.
Pretty good.
I would say this, if Emmitt Smith, whose numbers we know off the charts, right? If Ezekiel Elliott turns out to be as good as we think, that could end up being the best tandem that never played together, but as far as two running backs.
Bruce, I threw at you Jim Braxton and OJ. It was brief, though.
Yeah, and Braxton was a pretty good blocking back, and of course, OJ was OJ. So that would be in there too. But by the way, another thing with Brown, back to a couple of years earlier in his career, he had Bobby Mitchell in the same backfield. Now they did play in the backfield at the same time.
Hall of Famer.
Yeah, so you got two Hall of Famers.
From Hot Springs, Arkansas, Bobby Mitchell.
There you go. I think he just recently passed too. But I'm saying, any time Jim Brown is involved, he wins. I don't care, Emmett, anybody else, what it is.
Jim Brown
wins. Jim Brown.
Yeah. And you retire at 29.
It is pretty hard to beat. I agree with that. And
it's a fun topic though. It really
what
is.
about Rocky Blyer and Franco?
That's a great combo.
And Frenchie Fuqua.
Oh sure. Yeah, the Steelers had that's a pretty good trio right there, and they all
and Preston Pearson is receiving back.
You know what? Rocky really did more of the blocking for Franco, he did carry the ball enough
and had great hands.
He did.
Yes, and Pearson was there. Then he went to Dallas after he had been there a little bit in the early '70s, late '60s, early '70s for Pittsburgh. So yeah,
Tony Dorsett and Robert Newhouse.
Yeah, they'd be in the mix there. It's a great topic.
Great topic, Bruce.
But I'm always going to defer to the Browns because of Jim, and the forgotten greatness of Leroy Kelly, I think, should be remembered as well.
Bruce, the old saying, if Goldman's buying, you need to be buying. If Goldman's selling, you need to be selling. Anytime you bet on Jim Brown, you can't lose.
Yeah, I think so.
No doubt about it. All right, real quick. What are the odds in Vegas we have baseball a week from yesterday?
Oh, pretty good. I'd say about 90% we're having baseball. And that's because it's coming first.
I don't know where, though, but I think they play Thursday. I don't know if the Nats play at Nationals Park, and I don't know that the Dodgers play at Chavez Ravine.
Yeah, that's a great. Yeah, that's right. The Giants and Dodgers will be playing the opener. I think there's, it looks like we're going to have it, and then we'll see. The ones we're all waiting on is football and college football, and that I don't have any answers on yet, or even a guess right now. But baseball looks like it's going to give it a go.
Bruce Marshall, how do we get more of you?
Check us out online, goldsheet.com. I'll have some more stuff up there as soon as we've got some games. I do have picks in soccer. You can find those when and there'll be some tomorrow. VegasInsider.com. And by the way, soccer has done a very good job putting things together in Europe. They're finishing up in Spain this weekend. They have finished up in Germany. England's about to finish in Italy. And then they'll get into the Champions League, which is going to be an 18 tournament this year in August in Lisbon. So they're doing stuff in soccer and my pick's there at VegasInsider.com.
And we are off and running with the USL in the 901 FC for Memphis. And, in fact, the news today, which is the best news we've had around here for a while, they're actually going to let 1,000 people, 10% capacity, watch the 901 FC on July the 25th. So
and we'll crush Greg Sankey next Friday.
Soccer is happening. Yeah. We'll get into college football with you next Friday so my man Brett can go after it. Thank you. We appreciate it, and have a great, safe weekend.
Okay, you too, guys. Thank you,
Bruce.
That is our guy.
Stay well.
Bruce Marshall from the Gold Sheet. He's brought to you by the Commissary. You know I'm talking about Germantown Commissary, Collierville Commissary, where the barbecue is flowing inside or outside. They do serve more food there, so they're open. And, in fact, at the Commissary in Collierville, Houston Levy Road, and Poplar, you can do a drive-through if you feel more comfortable that way, but it is huge inside. And they do a great job with social distancing. And if you're like my wife, and I've adopted her philosophy about restaurants for us, if we don't pick up and take home, we decide to go, we will sit outside. And they've got a wonderful patio in the Collierville Commissary. Now, if you want those ribs or the chicken or the icebox lemon pie or tamales, pulled shoulder, whatever it may be, you can go to the Germantown Commissary. Same quaint neighborhood, still there, still going strong. Curbside's really good there. Call ahead. You can give them your credit card number in advance so there's less exchanging of things, and they'll put it right in your car for you. All you got to do is go. It's so simple. Make it easy for yourself. You don't want to cook on this hot Friday night. Go to the Commissary, Germantown or Collierville. We're back with a wrap of our number one. In just a moment, this is Sports Time on Sports 56.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
As you get back to business, small things can make a big difference. Like marking safe distances with floor tape and posting reminders to wash hands. As always, Grainger is here to help, offering supplies and solutions for every industry. Free access to product specialists, 24/7 support, safety recovery guides, and more. It's part of our commitment to help you adapt and recover in these challenging times. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Chris Price here for Brian Elder Roofing. The storms we've had over the past several months have been devastating to our communities. The rainy season is ahead. You may have not even noticed the dripping in your attic, water stains throughout your home, or even worse, mold and mildew. Please call Brian Elder Roofing and we will send out our project managers to assess any damage. We will not try to sell you a roof if all you need is a repair. We will measure your roof from outer space. 0% for 60 months, even no payments till 2022 are available with approved credit. If you've noticed missing shingles, water stains, leaks in your roof, call us before you call your insurance company at 867-0303. That's 867-0303, and we will provide a free, thorough inspection of your roof's condition.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Did you know nearly 40% of men under 40 and over 75% of men over the age of 40 experience sexual performance concerns? At the Memphis Men's Clinic, their experienced physician performs a comprehensive evaluation that determines which specific issues may interfere with your sexual performance. These issues can vary and range from anxiety to medical issues, low testosterone, or erectile dysfunction. The Memphis Men's Clinic has evaluated hundreds of men of all ages over the years and reestablished a normal sexual life. The Memphis Men's Clinic will work aggressively to resolve issues and allow you to restore your sexual health and overall well-being. That's the Memphis way. If you're 20 years old or 90 years old, come and get cared for the Memphis way. Treatment that's based on your specific needs after a professional clinical evaluation by their experienced board-certified physician. Call the Memphis Men's Clinic today at 901-443-0475 or visit memphismensclinic.com.
We saved big money with our Progressive Home and Auto Bundle and used the cash to take a family vacation.
To Hawaii.
Who's up for a luau?
Yay!
This is not a real testimonial. Sure, customers can save big money with Progressive, but not enough to go to Hawaii. They'll probably use it for things like the mortgage and groceries, or even a travel magazine, so at least they can see pictures of Hawaii.
Aloha!
Yes, say hello to those beautiful Hawaiian beaches. in that magazine. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Dave Wolochen and Brett Norsworthy.
Not a good day at the memorial for Tiger Woods. He shot 76 today for over 3 over for a little bit. He was hanging in there to make the cut. Now the cut is projected at 2 over.
I'm getting ready to go
Zip,
double
zip.
bagel.
Ooh. I'd like to say I feel bad for you.
I rode Joaquin Neiman for long as I could.
Well, you
didn't I?
could. He's
And got off Victor Hovland. He had a 30 on the front today.
Did he really?
Yeah, thanks, Victor. For nothing.
The leaders, by the way, you mentioned a little bit earlier, Furyk's had a good weekend.
John Harden had with that note. He's right. You know, I'm with Jack Nicklaus and the broad on the ball, but how come Jim Furyk can hit it?
Well, you know, he's still using that same ball. He's 50 years of age. If we didn't have a ball that was like it is now, he probably at 50 couldn't compete on this tour. He'd have to go down where the shorter distances would be. But because this ball is so live, he's still playing on courses that were designed not to hit that far. So he's still in the ballpark.
Impressive 9 unders for Ryan Palmer and Tony Finau and John Rahm.
Yeah,
he needed this week.
I've been waiting for him. I don't understand what has happened to John Rahm.
Got married, had the layoff. Mayo had not been as sharp as he could have been, and really had played poorly. I told the story the other day. He had one of the worst shots I've ever seen a professional. I've ever seen anybody hit last week.
Did. Gary Woodland's in the chase at 6 under, along with Ches Reavie.
But a good old double cross can make you look bad.
I know it. Danny Willett, has he done anything besides win the green jacket the one time?
Not much more than that. Got a little better last year, but no, he's been a one-hit wonder. He's Todd Hamilton.
He's at 5. You've got the 2 old guys, Stricker and Furyk. They're both at 4 under with your guy Hovland. There's Jordan Spieth. He's 3 under. That would be the shock pick. He's in striking distance, my man. He is in.
He is.
But he
can he make enough birdies? Can he go out there and shoot?
Let me tell you
66, 66?
I did not watch a lot today. I was running around doing a lot of different things.
I hadn't seen a shot today.
I did. I've watched about maybe, off and on doing prep and other stuff. Maybe an hour and 15 minutes of it.
I'm impressed you did show prep. I just mailed it in, did nothing today.
Well, I figure that's the way you're just inherently a savant and smart. You don't
Yeah,
have to work.
sure.
Everybody knows that. So while I'm doing that, I watched Jordan Spieth. Jordan Spieth, he hits a shot. Do you remember Wingfoot and Phil Mickelson, U.S. Open, when
he hit the hospitality tent?
Yeah. Well,
merchandise tent.
I want to tell you that Spieth hit a shot that was almost like that, but it's like a cart path, stays in bounds. He's got a clear shot to the green, and it's only 100 yards out when I think if you hit a good shot, you would have had about a 160-yard shot in.
He's an accomplished player. He's in the Hall of Fame. He will win big, but a lot of snakes in his head. The constant chatter that he has, if they would mic him up, they would not need analysts.
They did a mic with him on that particular shot. He had his teacher, Mike, whatever his last name is. He's actually, because there's no yardage books for this, where he is.
Greller just had to walk it off.
He did. He walked it off, and he goes, it's 97 yards to the water, 112 yards to the hole. And he hit a great shot. And after he hits the shot, he goes to Mike, he goes, great yardage, man. Great call on the number.
I never hear him curse.
I know, he doesn't.
And he is an extraordinarily nice person.
I've never heard him go, oh, no, nothing like that.
But he and DeChambeau, they don't need analysts with those two around because they're constantly talking. They're Lee Trevino. Lee Trevino with a great line one time to Nicklaus. They were playing in a U.S. Open playoff on a Monday. And on the first tee, Lee Trevino said, Jack, I like to talk. And Jack Nicklaus said, I don't. You talk, I'll listen.
Hey, that worked.
Yeah.
There is nobody more entertaining on a golf course or really anywhere than Lee Trevino. You ever get a chance to listen to him at a speech? Go, because he will make your day. That's an hour in the books. When we come back at about 4:05, our friend Drew Hill from the Daily Memphian, now on the NBA, and he's in the middle of a Zoom call right now with the Grizzlies. We'll find out what's going on in the bubble in Orlando in just 1 minute. This is Sports Time on Sports 56.
Save now on your 2021 swimming pool at Family Leisure. Buy now at 2020 pricing and save your spot for the first installation of 2021. Patio furniture 20 to 30% off. Play gyms in stock. Beat the heat with an indoor game table or slate pool table. Pool toys and floats up to 30% off. Family Leisure, Whit Road at I-40, where family and fun come together.
Family and fun come together.
We started Untuckit to create the perfect untucked shirts. Along the way, we had other great ideas, like super comfortable polos that come out of the dryer looking crisp, wrinkle-free, and always at that just right length. Choose from our traditional PK, easy wrinkle-free, and performance styles that wick moisture, so even when it's hot in the shade, you'll feel cool and dry in an Untuckit polo. Try our famous polos now at untuckit.com or any of our 85-plus stores. Untuckit, shirts designed to be worn untucked.
Hi, I'm Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roofing. Can anyone explain to me why anyone would care how I measure your roof? We have all heard about measuring your roof from outer space. Well, to be honest, there are aerial pictures that are taken every 4 years that can be used to measure a building, but it's not from outer space. Besides, no one, and I mean no one, can tell you what's wrong with your roof or even if you need one by using pictures that might be 4 years old. If you would rather do business with a family-owned and operated business with a lifelong tie to Memphis that refuses to mislead or use gimmicks, please give me a call. Best products, best warranties, and the best customer service we know how to provide. Fiveash Roofing, proud partner of the Memphis Tigers and the official roofer of the Memphis Tigers home team. Fiveash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Fiveash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Like me, my opponents are Republicans, but there's a big difference. Tennessee is my first concern, not special interest, not Washington, and I'm not blindly following anyone. I'll support President Trump's conservative policies, but I'm not a yes man. I'll only be loyal to you. My focus is pushing for conservative Tennessee values. I'm George Flynn, candidate for U.S. Senate. I approve this message and ask for your vote to put real solutions into action for you.
Hi, this is Rob Brown. Join Pete Cordelli and me for Sidelines, Saturday mornings, 8 to 10 a.m. on Sports 56, 87.7, and 96.1 FM. We'll cover the Memphis Tigers, the SEC, recruiting. Hey, if they keep score, we're covering it. Check us out on the website at sports56whbq.com and sidelines.live. Sidelines is brought to you by Duncan Williams Asset Management. Saturday mornings, 8 to 10 a.m. Get up and give us a call.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis, WIVG-FM Tunica Memphis, and WPG-FLP Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now, more of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
Welcome in hour number 2 on a steamy Friday. Weekend almost upon us. It is a day where we got good news finally. Fans will be allowed to go to AutoZone Park on July the 25th to see 901 FC compete. That's about 10%. So we get a little test here, a little beginning, and let's see how well that will go. That is outstanding news. Today, Dr. Tony Fauci said to NBC that we think that there could be a vaccine by December or January. That would help us back to some sense of normalcy, but the reality hit today, 408 new cases. Good news, no deaths, but 408 cases in the one day, and this just coming across. Indiana has paused voluntary workouts for football after 6 members of its team tested for COVID. Here's the bad thing. They brought folks here or I shouldn't say here, Bloomington, Indiana, on that beautiful campus. If you've ever been there, it's gorgeous. So they came back for voluntary workouts June the 15th. At that time, I think their players and staff, there were 4 positives out of 300 tests. So that was good, but 4. But now here we are a month later and 6 new tests. That's tough. So now in all, there are more than 10 FBS teams, including Ohio State, that have been forced to suspend workouts since returning to campus in June. And one of those 10 is East Carolina in the American.
Ross Dellinger of Sports Illustrated reporting that he had a source tell him he thinks at every team at the FCS level will not play in 2020.
Say that again?
Every team in FCS will not play in 2020.
Every team. Well,
which creates scheduling, creates budget nightmare for them.
There's even FCS teams that are part of the bye game system with FBS teams.
Oh, yeah.
So
SEMO coming to Oxford.
Right.
Teams playing the University.
I don't know
UT Martin playing Tigers.
My alma mater, SIU, would be out of the mix too.
And, I mean, you just in the SEC, I mean, it wipes out a lot of games. With the SEC, if there's any chance of playing, at best, or at most, it'll be 8-2, 8 conference games and 2 non. Could even be 7-2. Could even be 6-1. There's all kind of scenarios. But like opening weekend, Vanderbilt was going to play Mercer. Texas A&M was going to play Abilene Christian. South Carolina was going to play Coastal Carolina. Central Arkansas was going to play Mizzou. They play at a very high level in Conway, and all those games will be wiped out. Alcorn State was going to play Auburn.
So that is just his speculation. This will be a total cancellation of the season, not a postponement to spring.
He had a
total
source.
Cancellation.
Yeah, he had a source tell him that. Also, kind of still trying to act like we're going to have a season. The Big 12 released their preseason media poll. To the shock of no one, OU's on top. OU picked to win. Oklahoma State second. Texas third. Iowa State fourth. Baylor fifth.
Woo.
TCU sixth.
That is really low for TCU.
It really is.
I wonder if that puts a little pressure for the first time on Gary Patterson.
We used to think he had one of the jobs that there's nothing he could do to get in trouble.
I thought there'd be a statue for him on that campus.
7 K-State, 8 West Virginia, 9 Texas Tech.
West
and 10,
Virginia has fallen too. Wow.
Well, they got a good coach in Neil Brown, second year there, but 10 less miles in KU. You can count on KU being 1 in hoops and last in football.
Yeah, you sure can. News today in the NBA, Montrezl Harrell had to leave for a medical emergency like Zion did.
Now they're going to change the rules for Zion.
Oh, they are?
Well, they say they don't really know what the rules are going to be for him. Just kind of you do what you want to do.
I thought the protocol was pretty well set in stone. If you leave and you do testing.
2020, Dave. Is
when
anything
you
set in
come
stone?
back, when you come back, 4 days of quarantine if you did the testing, and you're negative. If you come back and while you were away you did not do the testing, 10 days of quarantine.
I would bet on the sun rising tomorrow morning, but in 2020, I'm not so sure.
Well, what else is going on in the bubble? Drew Hill from the Daily Memphian, who now covers the Grizzlies. He joins us. He just got off a Zoom with all of them. What's life like in Orlando for the Grizzlies at this very moment? Drew, thanks for giving us some time this afternoon. We appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. They're having fun. I mean, it's ridiculous how much fun they're having down there. You know, for as much as we talked about, the difficulties of the bubble and how difficult it's going to be for them to be trapped down there for such a long period of time. This group is so goofy right now. They are just joking around every single Zoom call. Today it was the two-way players, John Conchar and Yuta Watanabe, and they were goofy as usual. I mean, Yuta was in there, making faces while John was doing the interview, and they talked about being cornhole partners together and stuff like that. So, I mean, between Ja and Jaren and Brandon Clark and Jonas Valanciunas, I mean, every single one of these Zoom calls now, every single day that they're having for the media, it just features another prank or something that you can just bank on that happening at this point. So they're serious about returning to play, but they're also you have to look at it as, most of these guys are in their early 20s or mid-20s, and they're still goofballs.
Drew, good for them. I mean, it costs the same to be positive and have fun these days, and why not for those young guys and being asked to do something that is unprecedented. And the John Conchar game against the Lakers seems like a lifetime ago.
It does seem like a long time ago.
Man, did that really happen, Drew?
Well, it was months ago. That's the truth.
Yeah, I mean, yes, it really did happen. But no, yeah, it's just good to see them, and good to see them in a good mood, because there was so much uncertainty going into this and negativity, to be honest. And there was a point right before everybody was supposed to leave to start going down there where people were like, should we really be doing this? But so far, the Grizzlies have been in a pretty good mood, and it's nice to see that those guys are happy.
You have not been on this beat for a long time, and most people know that you came to this market from Alabama, where you were covering college basketball. You came to cover college basketball for the Commercial Appeal, and then went to this job to do the same thing for the Daily Memphian. So you've been a college writer. This is your first experience with the NBA. I've heard, though, that a lot of people have sort of compared this Grizzlies team with that of like the atmosphere of a college team. Is that the sense you get?
Yeah, it's almost even more so that way. I mean, think about this. You've got Ja Morant and Jaren Jackson Jr. as basically the two leaders of that team, and both of them aren't even old enough to have a drink yet. I mean, and think about some of these college seniors are that old. But it's funny. It seems like Jaren Jackson Jr. has now earned himself a new nickname down in Orlando. Justice Winslow and Brandon Clark are now calling him Underage Jay, because he's not even old enough to have a drink yet. And yeah, no, it's exactly like a college atmosphere. I actually wrote about this today. It's going to come out either probably tomorrow around lunchtime. Just the joy of this team and how refreshing that is for Grizzlies fans. Because if you think about this, in January of last year, I don't know if you guys remember, but the Grizzlies were on that losing skid, and they had just lost to the Pistons, and that's when the reports were coming out that there was a physical altercation in the locker room between Omri Caspi and Garrett Temple, and that just feels like so long ago.
It does.
Such a different team, and now it's just so refreshing to have a team that clearly likes each other, and you have guys like Ja Morant saying yesterday, like, we're all we have right now, so we're just happy to be together. And like you can't even imagine somebody saying that a year ago. So that's pretty cool to see that they all like each other so much.
Hey, you had many conversations yet with the head coach, Taylor Jenkins, and really what his plans are in terms of restarting? Like, we know for a fact that he's going to have Valanciunas. He is going to have Ja Morant. He is going to have Jaren Jackson Jr.
And they're
He's
well
going
rested.
to have Dylan Brooks. Everybody's healthy. But who will be the small forward?
2 weeks from today.
Who will Justice Winslow get a lot of playing time? Is DeAnthony Melton, who by your compatriot Chris Harrington's metrics, seems to be the best fit for that, especially with some of the matchups they're going to face early. How will they use this personnel?
Yeah, I think that Chris is on the right page. I think that Chris believes, and I do too, that Justice Winslow is probably going to be your starting small forward when you get down there, and that's just the way that it's going to be. He did make the case for maybe that should be DeAnthony Melton,
right,
given what he's accomplished this year, and it would make more sense to have Justice come off the bench. Taylor Jenkins hasn't exactly said what he's going to do. Don't blame him. You don't want to give up the strategy. We might get some hints beginning next week. The Grizzlies just announced their broadcast schedule, by the way. They're going to stream all of the scrimmages. They play 3 scrimmages leading up to this restart. They're going to stream those online, and Pete Pranica is going to be on the call for those. So maybe those scrimmages give us a hint as to what they're going to do. with Justice and what the starting lineup is going to be. But it's just hard to imagine a scenario where Justice isn't going to play a big chunk of the minutes because he's so versatile. He's the type of player that when on the floor with some of the guys that they have, like a Jaren Jackson and Jonas, he just gives you such an edge defensively that you have to put him out there. And I think they're eager to show what he can do, and he's eager to show what he can do with this team. So even if he starts or not, I don't know if it makes a big difference, to be honest. But I do think that he will probably, if I'm guessing today, I would guess that he will probably be the starter for the first game against Portland.
Drew, I think the two truest things in sports that ever can be said, never easy, and it never gets old winning. The Grizzlies can almost make it easy by winning out of the gate, right out of the gate. Portland, 2 days later, San Antonio, the next day, New Orleans. The Grizzlies start 3-0. They're the 8th seed.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. And I've actually looked at this. The way I see this, if you go 3-5 the rest of the way, I think that's more than likely going to be good enough to at least get you into a play-in scenario, and probably as the number 8 where you only have to win one game if you can just go 3-5. And I don't think that's far-fetched, especially when you look at what they've accomplished this year. You know, they've upset plenty of teams. This is a team that's really motivated right now. There's no and I think that's become pretty clear. I don't know if you can say that about every team that's down there. Certainly not teams like the Wizards and the Spurs and the Suns. So when I look at the schedule, I see 3-5. 4-4 would be great. I think anything above that, and you're probably just in the playoffs without having to do the play-in.
I think if you're 4-4, you I don't think you'll have to worry about a play-in at all. I think you're there. And your 3 wins. Well, if you start off 3-0, you are beating 2 of the teams right off the bat that are the ones that are really your nemesis for those for the 8 and the 9 spots. And so you'd have a leg up on them, and that may just doom them. The one in the middle, the San Antonio Spurs, I really don't think even Popovich, without Aldridge there and everything that's going on, you get the sense that, you know, they're just going to try and use these games to see what he's got. They're not necessarily there to see if they can win. So if you were to go 3-0 right off the bat, I think that would wipe out everybody that's trying to get into your position.
Yeah, and I got to be honest, I don't want to sound negative here because I'm not a negative person, but I don't foresee 3-0. I think 2-1 is a lot more likely. I still think 2-1 is probably going to be good enough.
Where's the loss? Where's the one?
I think if Zion is back in time, given the way that they've played against the Pelicans so far this year, I would probably peg that loss to New Orleans. I think they'll be ready for that first game against Portland.
What are they going to do with him exiting the bubble? It's kind of all over the place, kind of Zion rules.
Right, isn't it weird? It's you've heard 1,000 different things from a 1,000 different directions when it comes to Zion. I think, and based off of going through the handbook, and again, it's so hard to interpret, so I can't even say for sure. But the sentiment that I've heard the most, and what I read and I understood, was that as long as he is still testing when he's outside of the bubble, and he continues to test negative, then when he comes back, if he keeps testing and he keeps testing negative, it would only have to be like anywhere between 2 to 4 days. So he could technically be back in time. Mm-hmm. I still think it hurts him no matter what. I mean, you're trying to get back in shape, right? To play in these games.
Do you know the issue that he had to leave over?
No, outside of the fact that they announced that it was a medical emergency for a family member. So
let's look at it this way, and I certainly hope that person recovers, but he's got to prove that he tested every day, and then that is what was in the rules that I saw. It was 113 pages. I'm not saying to you I read every word of that, but the basic things that I read from that is if you do leave, if you test and you come back and you're negative the whole way, it's a 4-day quarantine. I don't know where the 2 comes in, but I've seen that as a 4-day quarantine. But let's be honest. He's got a test every day. He's gone. We don't know when he's coming back. If this person is really ill and he's going to be with them for a long period of time, and then he comes back, because this thing starts, a week from yesterday? 2 weeks from now?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah.
Time is of the essence.
It clearly hurts. It clearly hurts no matter what, because these practices matter right now a lot as you try and get things in order. The Grizzlies have even talked about it, how difficult it is just to get their tempo back. The first practice, they're going 100 miles an hour, and they've been slowing down ever since, but it's still not all the way right, and they'll tell you that. And so it's a challenge to get everything back in order in this amount of time for the season to start. And when you are missing Zion and you're the Pelicans, that's obviously a huge blow. Now, Zion came back looking like he's in great shape. I know there were some questions ahead of time. People were asking, is he going to come back in great shape? Well, the photos say he did, but at the same time, he's still a rookie. We can't just say he's Zion Williamson and give him credit for absolutely everything. He still has to prove it.
But ESPN can, Drew.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's just the way it goes. And I absolutely understand the frustration from Grizzlies fans when it comes to that sort of stuff, but I also get it from ESPN's standpoint, too.
Sure.
I mean,
It's
how
business.
many people are interested in Zion?
And honestly, Drew, their best number uptick all year ratings-wise was his return.
Yep, there's a reason the Grizzlies game against the Pelicans is the only game that they play on ESPN.
Right. And that's scheduled for August the 3rd, which is their 3rd game. So they come back and they play. I mean, look, if they're 3-0, they're going to get in. Because here's their schedule. They start with the Jazz and Mike Conley. That's the very first game. Then on ESPN, they play the Clippers. They will be the underdogs in that game. Then they will play the Grizzlies, another game. And then there's only 2 games that they've got at this moment scheduled on ESPN. It's the Clippers and the Grizz. Then they play the Kings. They play the Wizards. They play the Spurs, who will have folded up camp by then. They play the Kings again. And who knows if the Aaron Fox is going to play. Then their last game is the Magic. I mean, those last 5 games are about as easy as you can get.
They are, but it could be over after the first 3. Drew, the scoreboard watching is going to be so much fun, not just because we're dying for anything, we're longing for anything. Let me change my terminology, especially in these times. We're longing for anything sports-wise, but the scoreboard watching will be very pertinent for our Grizzlies fans and everybody else.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be it's almost going to feel like a day of the NCAA tournament, watching all these games happen during the day, because every game is going to matter to Memphis. You're not just going to have Memphis games to watch, and those there's the 2 Sacramento and New Orleans games, it's kind of strange that they play each other twice when everybody else is only playing their opponents once. Those 2 games are really going to matter for the Grizzlies, and if the Kings are still trying to win games, which they should be, they're in the same position as Portland and New Orleans, then I think everybody views New Orleans as a bigger threat. It would be doing the Grizzlies a pretty big favor if they could beat the Pelicans in some of those games. So it's going to be really fun to watch all these different games going on at one time, and it's going to make for some really entertaining online chatter, or since we can't be together physically right now, it's going to be fun to be together virtually with everybody all in one place.
How will you cover the games?
Long.
Are you going to go down to the building to the team availability?
We're going to have to see. Yeah, my plan is to probably go down to FedEx Forum, because they are going to do some media stuff there, and it'll be on TV. The other option that the NBA has thrown out there is for people outside of the bubble to potentially watch the game from the stands. I don't know if that's going to happen, but it's just a possibility that I guess is up in the air. So we'll have to see. I don't think I'll be going down there for all of the games.
What about playoffs? Would you go down for playoffs?
Yes, if I can watch it from the stands, I think there's a chance potentially that I could do that. But again, I don't want to make any commitments because there's a lot of major expenses.
No commitments right
now.
Right.
Yeah, it's a tough time for everybody. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens. But But no, I mean, I'm open to it.
Was there ever any contemplation, and I know it would have been costly for the Daily Memphian to send you, because look, you're not married. You could have stayed there all the way through October. Was there any thought to send you into the bubble?
I don't think so, because and what it was mostly because of me, because when you look at the amount of reporters that they actually let into the bubble, it's a very, very limited number. It's like 10. And so when you look at the people that are down there, almost all of them work for either The Athletic or ESPN or the New York Times or the Washington Post. So the Daily Memphian isn't quite to that level yet. But it is very, very, very pricey. So I don't think it was it's not a very realistic option for the local
Drew, did you
market.
see how the old married guys just treat us single guys? They just throw us out there as fodder.
I know. It's ridiculous, huh?
Especially when they're old like some people.
That's me, not you, Drew.
Before we let you go, what did you think about the Cisse signing and the transfers and Miller going to be the head coach for his sons at Houston High School? We've had quite the interesting week here this past 5 days.
Yeah, I think it all made sense to me. I was one of the few people I felt like that was singing Cisse to Memphis while other people were, saying LSU, LSU, LSU. So that made sense to me. I think it's a huge pickup for Memphis. It's a really big deal. It makes a lot of sense, to be honest. Memphis has been at every single one of his games since he moved to Memphis. Since he moved to Memphis, everyone thought he was going to play for Memphis. So it makes a lot of sense, but it is a huge pickup. It's really good for Penny and his recruiting prowess, which seemed to be, at least by perception, people had thought that maybe that was changing because he missed on a couple guys. So that was a really big pickup for them. And then with Mike, I mean, that was something that was talked about in the middle of the season in terms of, him wanting to spend more time with his family, and not him taking the job at Houston, but just that he had missed that sort of aspect a little bit. And so, I think it's going to be a good thing for him. I think that you're going to see some big time high school prospects that could go out and play for him because he's a really popular guy. I don't want to throw any names out there yet, but there are some rumors going around that he could pick up some big time players to go play at Houston. So good for him. He's going to get to spend some time with his kids.
MM33 strikes again.
You know what? I've heard that, and I really think his initial goal was to start sort of an IMG academy here in Memphis.
Good plan.
And when Houston High and Charlie Leonard decided to retire, and Houston High became open, and Charlie was really likes Mike and thinks Mike is the person to pass the baton to, and Chad Becker, who's the AD there, also, by the way, played for Charlie Leonard. It was just an absolute natural progression, and I think it's going to work really, really well. And I hear he's got a 5-star kid that's going to end up coming to play for Houston here in the next couple of weeks. So, Drew, you're on the money as always. We appreciate it. Stay healthy, and once these games start, we'll have to have you on again.
Thank you, Drew.
For sure. Thanks, guys, as always.
Appreciate you, man.
That is Drew Hill from the Daily Memphian. Our title sponsor for this hour of the program is Homer Skelton Hyundai in Olive Branch. With products so good, you get a limited powertrain warranty on every new vehicle. And even some of these Hyundai certified pre-owned vehicles, you can get about 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. Who else does that? Nobody. Only the good folks that have been together for a long, long time. If you go and you talk about the Meltons and the Burnsides and the Finks and the Richardsons and Piper, they've all been there for years. Chris True is the one that puts them all together, and they've got the product. 2021 models have started to arrive. The Hyundai Tucson, that's the little smaller SUV, number one 2020 compact SUV for quality, according to J.D. Power. The Veloster, that's that cute little lurk car, 2021 compact sporty car of the year, number one ranked again by J.D. Power. You can't beat what's going on there. You can't beat these folks. All you got to do is get on Lamar. You take it into Mississippi, Highway 78. And once you get there, first exit, turn left, Craft Road, you'll be at what I think is the standard for the car business. You will be at Homer Skelton Hyundai and Genesis of Olive Branch.
Dave, I played a lot of golf with you. We've had a lot of fun through the years, haven't we?
Mm-hmm.
I don't ever remember seeing you make a 10 on a hole. Have you ever made a 10?
I'm probably, if we counted everything, usually I will pick up after double bogey.
Okay.
I'm probably capable of it.
Drew, John Harden even. Anybody in there, y'all ever made a 10 on a hole playing golf and written it down?
I've never written it down because
You never have?
I play for the best score, not the right one.
Okay. Well, Bryson DeChambeau wrote down a 10.
No way. You are kidding. That'll take him out of the cut.
Oh, yeah, it will. I'm so upset. I'll be there for you, though.
Are you seriously? You're
made
not
a 10
lying
on
to
number 15, a par 5.
How do you get a quad on a par 5?
He just kept whomping at it. He pulled a McAvoy from Tin Cup. I can't think of his first name.
Or in real life, a Jean Van de Velde.
Poor Jean Van de
Was
Velde.
water involved in that?
Boy, you'd have to think everything would be involved in making a 10. Water, wind, rain, pain.
Yeah. I have never seen you so happy.
Not happy, Dave.
About
I'm
the
here for you.
pain of DeChambeau and me.
You know, I had the best line ever about Jean Van de Velde. Biggest French collapse since Hitler goose stepped down the Champs-Élysées.
Yeah, that actually is a very good line. We are late for a break. Back in just a minute. When we return to Colorado, we go to talk baseball with our man from MLB.com. That would be Thomas Harding. He's next.
Sports 56 Mornings with Peter Edmiston and CJ Hertz. Weekdays from 7 to 10. Only on Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7 FM.
Glad to announce the Rendezvous open for business 11A to 8P Tuesday through Saturday. World famous Rendezvous up and running. If you need some barbecue nachos, brisket, ribs, maybe a cheese and sausage plate, the Rendezvous back and open for dine-in, carry-out, and curbside. While not much changes in the alley basement, you will see a few small differences and additions. For now, open 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. Tuesday through Saturday. And they have desserts. Think key lime pie tarts, chocolate chess pie tarts. Spend some time downtown and visit our friends at the Rendezvous in the alley in downtown Memphis since 1948. All of the Vargas family thanks Memphis and the Mid-South so very much for your support during these times, and they're there for you, as always, in the alley in downtown Memphis. Mr. Charlie Vargas and family's famous restaurant, The Rendezvous.
Farmers Insurance knows that when you're in the car and that song comes on, yes, that's the one, you have no choice but to pull out your imaginary drumsticks and smash those cymbals and stomp on that kick pedal, which unfortunately is the accelerator pedal. And we covered it. Talk to a farmer's agent who knows a thing or two because they've seen a thing or two.
Call Chad Gatlin at 901-235-1176 or get a fast quote at memphisfarmers.com.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
Underwritten by Farmers Truck Fire Insurance Exchanges and Affiliates. Products not available in every state.
As you get back to business, small things can make a big difference. Like marking safe distances with floor tape and posting reminders to wash hands. As always, Grainger is here to help, offering supplies and solutions for every industry. Free access to product specialists, 24/7 support, safety recovery guides, and more. It's part of our commitment to help you adapt and recover in these challenging times. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Now, more of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Olshin and Brett Norsworthy.
My world was strapped against my back. I held my hands, never knew how to.
Welcome back in to Colorado. We're going to go in a minute. There is a story that is coming across right now, and we talk about the pendulum swinging. It's not just in America now. This is all over the globe, and it's happening in Canada right now. On Friday, we get a report that the CFL team in Edmonton now plans to change its name as pressure from fans and sponsors mount. The CFL team has been the Eskimos since I was a kid and the CFL began. And many consider, and if this is the case, it needs to be changed. Many consider the team's name to be a slur against Canada's Inuit, which I guess is the name of the people that we have called for all these years and did not know it was a slur, Eskimos. This is coming from the TSN, which I believe is a part of the Canadian Sports Network, right? Isn't that it?
Mm-hmm.
The Sports Network?
Yeah, that's their ESPN.
It has not been totally confirmed. Washington Post has the story on it, too, that the Eskimos are going to change their name. A guy who used to cover the CFL. A guy who used to, on some opening nights, sing, "Oh, Canada." The Prince of the Props, Thomas Harding, joins us now.
Oh, Thomas, it's good to hear you laugh.
How are you?
I feel good. I feel clean. It's so good to be talking to Memphis, Tennessee.
We're glad to have you.
We are.
Right.
What do you think about this? Eskimos biting the dust.
Hey, let it bite. Let it bite the dust. Let's go on. Let's not use people as mascots here. If you recall, around the late 60s, early 70s, a number of teams with Indian imagery changed their name. For example, Stanford, they were the Indians. They became the Cardinals.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And it's funny. No one talks about the Washington Wizards having been the Bullets before. I mean, these things are screaming stories for a day or two. Then after it's changed, yeah, maybe, some people will wear some of the old gear, but eventually it disappears.
That's right, Thomas. And we remember when Marquette was when they once upon a time they were the Golden Flashes, then they were the Warriors. Now they're the Golden Eagles. But I can remember when I was little. I don't know why, but I knew all the nicknames to the Ivy League teams. In Dartmouth, they were like the Cleveland baseball team, and Stanford came to Little Rock with Jim Plunkett and played the Razorbacks, and they weren't the Cardinal. They were something else.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And Dartmouth became the Big Green. I think that this is something that probably should have, should have played itself out a long time ago. So
now,
I don't have.
Now, why did Hofstra change from Flying Dutchman?
Yeah, what did they become? I can't remember.
Aren't they the Eagles?
Well, I think they may be the Eagles, but I don't know. I mean, I wasn't privy to that. I remember Elon in North Carolina. They were the Fighting Christians.
Oh, yeah.
I think, now they're the Phoenix, I believe it is. I think that maybe some groups and, some religions didn't necessarily want to be, a logo with fists up on the side of a helmet. Hasn't happened at Notre Dame at this point, but I think that has a lot to do with it. And when you look at whether it's the Eskimos or the Indians or the Redskins, which there is no tribe called the Redskins, okay? It is basically, that's what people looked at the Native Americans. Your skin is red, you're Redskin.
These things are tricky, though. You just mentioned the Warriors, remember? Marquette, because Washington was toying with the idea of being the Warriors. Marquette changed their name from the Warriors.
They changed from it.
Right.
Yeah.
Hofstra's now the Pride. Thank you, Drew.
Even the Golden State Warrior. Yeah, that's right, the Pride. Yeah, because I was thinking of the lion image for Hofstra. I believe there is a lion on the logo. But even the Golden State Warriors, when they were in Philadelphia, their logo was the Native American head with all the feathers. And when they moved to the West Coast, they went with the cable car. Then for a while, they tried to come up with some sort of galactic warrior that the fans just totally rejected here. So
they do.
So a lot of those things they come, they go. I think that when you start listening to other people that you've made a mascot of, one of two things happen. Either it's you listen and say, okay, they're not going to be the mascot, or okay, you can use our name, but the tribe tribe or the nation has to get something for it. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, and you guys may look this up and discuss it on the air, but the Utes in Utah, there were a number of different concessions in order for them to use the name Utes and to use the drum and feather logo. But I remember reading, it must have been 2 years ago, that actually the school did not live up to its agreement to give scholarships to members of the Ute Nation. So there are a couple of ways to do this. Like I say, there is no tribe, there is no nation called the Redskins. So.
No, in Florida State, they have a very great working relationship with the Seminole Nation. Now, I don't know if the pregame planning of the spear will continue, but with Chief Osceola, they have maintained a good relationship. And I'll tell you, if you go to a FSU game, that is something to see when it on that horse it goes to midfield. But maybe that imagery, Thomas, maybe it goes. At one time, Center College that plays in the league with Rhodes and Sewanee and Millsaps and others of the Division III, they were known as the Center College Praying Colonels and just shortened it to Colonels.
Right, yeah, and I think there was a legend about them actually praying during a tough stanza of a football game.
Exactly.
Way in the early days of football. I mean, I remember the Memphis Chicks, and they had a mascot, Chief Chickasaw.
Right.
But some of the routines and also a costume at the end, before obviously the Redbirds came in and that was retired, but if I'm not mistaken, the Chickasaw Nation had to approve a lot of the images that were used because they weren't exactly crazy about it, but they're like, okay, we're not going. If you're going to use this as a mascot, we're not going to be a joke about this.
But Chief Chickasaw, clearly, that was an Indian with a headdress and everything. I'm trying to remember, and I hate that I can't, but I think there were some uniforms. There was an actual Indian. On the chicks
with the headdress,
with the headdress,
very ubiquitous. But I'm with Thomas. I think with Allie and Bob Brame, a lot of them, they reached out to them and had conciliation and conversation. That this, as Thomas said, don't make us into a clown.
Right.
And if you'll remember, the Braves, to Ted Turner's credit, he got rid of Chief Nakahoma out in left field with the teepee.
I think Chief Nakahoma, if I'm not mistaken, I'm not sure if he was in any nation whatsoever, and I believe he just sort of showed up and made himself a mascot. No, but the Chicks, by the way, that was David Hirsch at the end of the Chicks, Mike Nichols and David Hirsch, because when Allie and those guys came in, they went immediately to the Redbirds and became a AAA franchise.
Well, after Hirsch left, Hirsch was never a part of the AAA.
Right.
He was AA.
He had the Chicks and then moved them to Jackson.
Right, exactly. All right, so what do you do about the Braves? What do you do about the Cleveland Indians? I know they've taken away the smiling Indian that was a caricature, but do they keep their names? I know Atlanta said they're keeping the name of the Braves, but they're going to do away with the
chop.
The chop
that FSU uses.
To me, there is nothing that I see of cultural bias in that. It is just sort of a unifying thing that this is our team. We love them. We want them to do well. Do you see that?
I think that from the fans here in 2020 and whenever, and the mid 90s, I think that was the thought process. When I began looking at this stuff actually when I was really young, because I saw those names being changed. And the issue is that we have ingrained in our society the idea that natives are warlike. Now, a lot of times they became warlike because they were attacked.
Right.
But these names are based on kind of a stereotype of they're warlike. They're on the warpath. They swing tomahawks at people just on a Tuesday afternoon just because. And that's where the imagery becomes an issue.
Yeah, when I was little, Helena, Arkansas, they played as the Indians, and they dropped that and went to Cougars. Now, I don't really know why Marianna, Arkansas, I don't see any offense in this, but at one time they were the Porcupines and switched to Trojans.
I don't know.
My guess would be that a lot of the companies, they make logos, and it's easy to buy a cougar logo. Someone has to design a porcupine, and I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of what a porcupine looks like on the side of a helmet.
I remember going to games and seeing Mariana as the Porcupines.
The porcupine.
Yeah.
Wow.
I've told you the most offensive nickname I've ever seen was that of a high school in Pekin, Illinois.
Yeah, don't repeat it.
And you know,
don't repeat it. Yeah.
It was for those of Chinese descent, and they had that nickname for, I don't know, probably 60, 70 years.
But things change. When Johnny Newman was at Overton, they were the Rebels, and they're not now.
Yeah, and I am sure that any Asian that lived for those 60 or 70 years really hated that, and the idea that they weren't thought of as human enough to be listened to. That's why nicknames like that lived.
Wasn't Miami of Ohio once upon someone in the MAC were the Redskins? I thought so. I thought so.
Yeah, so, and a lot of those have changed over the years, and I think it was just a matter of time before pro teams would do it, and frankly, had FedEx not threatened to drop the naming rights of the stadium, and especially because the logo and the merchandise is such a big deal. Had Nike not said, we're not selling this, I think that you would be seeing the Washington Redskins on Sunday afternoons whenever they play football.
It'll be interesting to see when they do end up with a name, because to get a name is
a process.
It is a real process. You have to go through trademarks, and the one guy that has collected 40 names. He got
the DC area actuary.
He got the Warriors. He's willing to give it to them for nothing.
Now, the NFL, they have a full-time shop, and they were ready to roll out the Titans. Thomas, I bet you remember this, and you probably reported about it. When the Oilers moved here, they played here in Memphis as the Tennessee Oilers, played the first year at Vanderbilt as Tennessee Oilers, and the strong rumor that they were going to be the Tennessee Stars, and the logo was going to be the Tennessee state flag, but NFL merchandising, and they have a shop, said, no, we've test marketed this, and you're going to be the Titans.
Yeah, and I remember because they had a contest to pick a name, and one of the stories that I broke there was I knew about how people would sit trademarks. So what I did was through the library at the Commercial Appeal, there was actually an actual librarian. We looked through all the trademarks, and the NFL basically picked up trademarks on a bunch of possible names. Stars, I think, Copperheads. There were a few others that they had. So the NFL owned all of those names, and then when the contest came out, those happened to be the names you could pick from.
Imagine that.
They wanted to make sure that someone didn't go out and grab it. And my understanding, and I haven't really read all the stories, is that the gentleman who had all of the names, who had squatted all of the names, he may not have had a claim because, and I think the leagues have done this, some of the colleges, they're like, okay, if someone wants to grab a trademark, they have to actually intend to use it for a National Football League team, which, since he didn't own a National Football League team, I'm not sure he's going to get much out of it.
All right, before we run out of time here, let's talk some baseball.
Proof we could talk to you all night, Thomas, right here.
Will there be baseball next Thursday? Where will there be baseball next Thursday?
I'm sitting here watching this, and it looks like, for the most part, they're going to go ahead with baseball. There are a couple of really difficult places. Washington, it doesn't look like D.C. is going to bend its rules to allow baseball. Haven't looked at Philadelphia yet, and obviously, excuse me, Toronto. The question about going in and out of the country is still a big one there, but. I'm actually heading to Rocky Summer Camp, they're calling it, which, sounds like it's s'mores and campfires. But what's going to happen is when the season starts, teams will have 30 players, and they go to 28 after 2 weeks, 20 after 4 weeks, stay there for the rest of the year. The other 30, because you have 60 under your control, would be kept in what they call a satellite camp. Like the Rockies will have theirs in Albuquerque, where the AAA team is. I'm not sure what the Cardinals are using, if they use Memphis or if they use something else.
Springfield.
But they're using Springfield. Good. Well, basically, they're trying to keep people from being together too much to keep a spread going from an entire team. My thought is that this reminds me a little bit of the stories you hear about wartime baseball, where a lot of the top players went off to war, and they kept baseball going. Now, there were a lot of players that played during that period that never would have played in the majors and never played again, but they kept the game going. And I have a feeling that, especially the way that, as contagious as this virus is, who knows? I mean, this game could be decided. This World Series, if we get there and get through the season and get to a playoff, could be decided by people that you may never see in the major leagues again.
Huh. Crazy. What will,
it is wild, but
what will
there's a huge pot of playoff money to get to the playoffs, and that's why baseball had such a hard time getting to the field. And we're going to find that it's going to be very hard to get the NFL even to training camp, because hockey and basketball, what they had was they essentially finished the regular season. Players make the money during the regular season. That's what your contract covers. You just get a bit of a bonus based on the playoff share of the postseason. The owners, they make a killing off the postseason television contracts. The owners the players were like, okay, wait, we can play a season and just end it here. We're good with that. And the owners were like, we don't really need a season. We need the playoffs. So that's why baseball was so hard to get an agreement to come to camp. And I think that the NFL, I saw what J.J. Watt tweeted yesterday about the lack of knowledge of testing, of if you test positive, is it a football injury or is it a non-football injury? Those things haven't been decided, and they're going to have to be decided before you see the NFL. And there's the whole thing of just playing football in that proximity.
You're right. You're right, my friend. We will talk to you if indeed they do start, and I do sense they will. You're right. There's for hockey and for basketball, there's a bubble. There's not for baseball, but they've been pretty good so far in not getting COVID. We'll just have to wait and see. And some crazy numbers. We could have a 400 hitter. We could have a sub 1.12 ERA. Who knows? It'll be fun, and we'll join you. As soon as the season begins, we'll get you back on.
Thank you, Thomas.
Hey, I really appreciate it. I kind of like what baseball is trying to do here. I think a bubble in Florida, as crazy as the virus is there, is absolutely insane, but we'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens. Thank you, Thomas.
Thanks for having me.
He's the one and only Thomas Hitman Harding, now with MLB.
The ruler of the Rockies.
I like that. The ruler of the Rockies. I'm going to use that one. This portion of the show brought to you by Edwin Watts Golf. We were just talking about all the golf balls, the 443-yard drives because of the hot ball. Guess who's got the hot ball? Edwin Watts. Anything that has to do with golf, Edwin Watts.
Is Jay promising 420 yards on the drive?
No, but you know what? I went in there today. I had to talk to my friend Jay Hasselman, and he said he's been working his tail off because they have really had golf gone crazy. I've told you this before. It's having a renaissance.
Good.
It really is. It really is remarkable, and they are as well. And he wants to thank everybody for all the business. But he did say this. He warned me. He said, "You better come in and get gloves because they're actually running out of gloves. In my size, cadet medium, there was a certain type of glove that I really like. They're out of them." He warned me. Tell people to come now because they're going to be out of gloves in a little bit. You know where the new Edwin Watts is? Real simple. I-40 and Ridgeway, right in that where the highway is. You go over the highway, you go right to the right there, and there you will find the new store. They've got a couple of different computers in there so more people can get, fitted, so to speak. The people there will really, really help you. Everybody's got their masks on, their understanding of how important all of that is. And I am telling you, it has been a great year. The great thing about Edwin Watts is they have the best 90-day, 100% satisfaction guarantee. You got 90 days. You don't like that thing, bring it back. Jay will take it. They're the best. That's Edwin Watts Golf, and get there quick because it's a renaissance year, and they're almost out of golf gloves. We are back in a minute with a wrap of this second hour on this steamy Friday of Sports Time.
It's R&R on Sports.
The word is out about R&R on Sports, where you've heard interviews from
Ken Griffith Jr., Dr. J, Hank Aaron, and many, many more.
R&R on Sports, Saturday mornings, 10 a.m., Sports 56, 87.7, and 96.1.
Don't miss us.
Like me, my opponents are Republicans, but there's a big difference. Tennessee is my first concern, not special interest, not Washington, and I'm not blindly following anyone. I'll support President Trump's conservative policies, but I'm not a yes man. I'll only be loyal to you. My focus is pushing for conservative Tennessee values. I'm George Flynn, candidate for U.S. Senate. I approve this message and ask for your vote to put real solutions into action for you.
Hey folks, I'm Jarrett Carter. My family recently purchased East Memphis Ace Hardware at Quince and White Station, and we're excited to offer the best selection of Big Green Egg and Traeger grills. And then don't forget about our Benjamin Moore Paint Studio and the Garden Center for flowers. Save 60% with our new Duracell key fob replacement program. We have a master locksmith service as well as glass cutting and screen repair. The East Memphis Ace Hardware, located at Quince and White Station behind Three Little Pigs.
We started Untuck It to create the perfect untucked shirts. Along the way, we had other great ideas, like super comfortable polos that come out of the dryer looking crisp, wrinkle-free, and always at that just right length. Choose from our traditional PK, easy wrinkle-free, and performance styles that wick moisture, so even when it's hot in the shade, you'll feel cool and dry in an Untuck It polo. Try our famous polos now at untuckit.com or any of our 85-plus stores. Untuck It, shirts designed to be worn untucked.
Looking for a high-efficiency planting solution? The Case IH 2150 Early Riser Planter combines the industry's most accurate planter technologies with a rugged row unit for a fast and uniform emergence. The Case IH 2150 Early Riser operates at your speed and adapts to unique field conditions so that you can maximize your yield potential. Stop in or call Mid-South Ag Equipment at 662-890-3141 to learn more. That's Mid-South Ag, your Case IH Equipment headquarters.
Now, more of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
One news happened late yesterday in college football involving the University of Tennessee. They dismissed, and they did it quickly, defensive lineman Emmett Gooden, who was the guy from Last Chance U, and there were so many positive stories written about him. And he was a projected starter, but he's
gone.
Charged with felony aggravated domestic assault. Apparently, or allegedly, I should say, he hit his girlfriend with a glass jar candle, which does not sound good at all. And he was
every coach in the country. You're gone.
He was tossed immediately.
You have to be. Gary Stoken, who's been on this radio station quite a bit through the years on various shows with me as well, a lot of times at SEC Media Days. He runs the Chick-fil-A Kickoff Classic, the opening game of the year, a lot of weekends. This year it was supposed to have Virginia and Georgia week 1, and then week 2 they were going to have Auburn in North Carolina. He has been quoted as floating the idea that a week 1 opponent for Alabama, since USC is out, is Alabama in South Bend, Tuscaloosa, or in Dallas, and there's a scenario that Virginia and Virginia Tech may play in Atlanta if the ACC-SEC goes conference +1.
Well, let's face it. You know, Notre Dame had, 2 Pac-12 teams?
Well, they always play Stanford and USC.
Right. So and so they have 2 that are empty.
They had someone from the Big Ten.
Well, we'll play you. They could have had Purdue. They usually play Indiana or Purdue, don't they?
Someone in there. I'm looking now. Yeah.
So they've really got 5 ACC games, right? That's all they play. And then they've got 7, of which we know at least 2 are Pac-12, and there's at least 1 Big Ten team in there.
Yeah, and Notre Dame with a lot of possibilities, but the idea of opening week for Alabama and Notre Dame, if we have a season,
wow,
even in an empty,
what a game that would be,
Notre Dame Stadium.
Woo.
That's an elimination game.
That's a lot of pressure.
That's 2 of my 4 college football playoff teams.
I know it. You would be out one right away.
Pretty much.
I'd have to feel bad for you.
I know you would.
Boy, I looked up Bryson DeChambeau's card, by the way.
You thought I was fibbing.
That dude had so many bogeys today in that quintuple. My goodness.
Why can't I find Notre Dame's schedule when I need it?
I don't know. You'll find it after the break. But we are going to switch gears. We've got Andy Schiffman coming your way on the NBA. Don't forget at the bottom of the hour.
Wisconsin, I found it.
So that's 4 games right there that they have openings. At 5:30, the ever-popular Heck Yeah, Hell No. That all still to come. Hour number 3 right around the corner of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wallow and Stats.
Gateway Tire and Service Center has a beautiful new state-of-the-art location at 5275 Summer Avenue. And for July, the new location on Summer has a great special. Buy 3 tires and get the 4th at no charge. Visit the new Gateway Tire and Service Center with 28 bays for quick service, super safe with curbside service, or lounge seating 6 feet apart. Check out GatewayTireandService.com for coupons, too. The new Gateway Tire and Service Center, 5275 Summer Avenue. Call Matt for details, 901-683-8335.
Hi, it's the Herd. Guys, I want to ask you about age. Are you okay feeling older? Having less energy? Adding unwanted body fat? Yeah, neither am I. That's why I exercise and take M-Drive. The only supplement specifically for driven men, just like you. I want to stay engaged and energized, strong and lean, but I'm not going to let age beat me. Neither should you. M-Drive, it can help you feel more energized and help you lean up. Invented by a world-class scientist with over 40 years of experience. I've met him, his family, real people. Check it out, mdriveformen.com. They believe so much in their supplements, they offer a no-hassle 60-day money-back guarantee. mdriveformen.com. It's also at Walgreens, Vitamin Shop, and Rite Aid. And if you're not ready to give up, if you want to feel more energized and lean, try M-Drive, the only supplement for driven men. Don't let your age beat you. Visit mdriveformen.com today. mdriveformen.com.
Don't miss Lowe's Just for Pros event going on now. Check out Simpson Strong Tie, new at Lowe's. Also get big savings on other brands you trust, like Metabo HPT. Powerful brands, new services, and pro-grade deals. All at Lowe's Just for Pros event, now through July 24th. See why we're the new home for pros. Get your choice of a Metabo HPT 18-volt brushless cordless impact driver kit or hammer drill kit for $159. Was $239. Kit includes 2 batteries. Valid through 7/24. Selection varies by location.
Looking for a great place to deposit your money? Try First Bank. Competitive CD rates, a money market that moves with Wall Street prime and interest-bearing checking account options. Not to mention their friendly bankers who make decisions locally. To find out more, stop by one of First Bank's 3 local branches. 6482 Poplar Avenue, just east of International Paper. 8398 Highway 64 across from Wolf Chase. And 6280 Highway 64 in Oakland. Or visit firstbankonline.com. Member FDIC.
Commitment, dedication, perseverance. At FedEx, our people are our strength. Even during these unprecedented times, we are delivering medical supplies, test kits, and the things you need every day. Helping the world move forward together. Strength, what we deliver by delivering. FedEx.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis, WIVG-FM Tunica Memphis, and WPG-FLP Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Welcome back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wallow and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brett Norsworthy.
We talk the NBA with Andy Schiffman as we get closer and closer to the NBA. We get closer and closer to baseball. Baseball first, but NBA now less than 2 weeks. We talk about that with Andy after I tell you about DeSoto Auto Sales at 5704 Goodman Road, 662-890-7184. Come on down to DeSoto County for that town and country experience at DeSoto Auto Sales, or go online and shop for the cars there and check out all the happy referrals at DeSotoAutoSales.com. All the cars test-driven, checked out from head to toe, unlimited inventory, every make, every model. If it's not on the lot, they'll go out and find it for you. No shortcuts at DeSoto Auto Sales, where you're treated like family by kind, courteous employees, laid-back atmosphere, no high-pressure sales, but they care about your time. They want you to enjoy the ultimate car experience because they know we live in a world today that time really matters. So you walk in, you find your car, test drive the car, credit approved, paperwork completed. You can do all that in less than an hour, in 45 minutes, in time to do it over your lunch hour or right now, immediately after work. It's that simple. Check out the referrals at DeSotoAutoSales.com or head down to 5704 Goodman Road, 662-890-7184. Come on down to DeSoto County for that town and country experience with the good people at DeSoto Auto Sales.
We're going to talk to Andy Schiffman in one second. I just wanted to go. You made the point yesterday where we always get the other side, like 72 players as opposed to that have COVID, as opposed to how many did not get COVID that were tested. So this is truly a positive on a day that I think, have good news. 1,000 fans will be allowed to go to AutoZone Park.
We'll take it any way we can get it.
To watch 901 FC. Dr. Fauci says a vaccine could be had by us as early as...
We're always going to tell the truth and be realistic.
Right, as December or January. You know how many baseball COVID samples there are out there?
Total?
Yeah. 10,000.
Oh, wow.
You know how many cases of positivity? This is right up your alley, buddy. You're going to love this. 5.
Out of 10,000?
Yeah. 5.
We sure that can be right?
Out of 10,000. I'm getting this from Yahoo Sports. 5 players test positive after more than 10,000 COVID-19 samples.
Now, of course, you know I'm scared of everything, Dave. I am scared of false negative, false positives.
Sure. I
mean, we're in a...
Well, that
doesn't sound like it should be more than that, shouldn't it?
That is pretty interesting, and it goes with how I want to bring in Andy.
Yeah.
Because I said this yesterday. It's been really, to me, heartwarming that, when the NBA players first came and met in their respective cities, there were cases of COVID.
Yeah.
Since they've gone to Orlando, we've seen guys leave the bubble for emergencies. We've seen some injuries like De'Aaron Fox and Rajon Rondo, but we have not seen any COVID. So let's bring in our agent from Chicago, Andy Schiffman, and let me ask you. I mean, are you satisfied to your players, and you've got many that are there, including the Grizzlies' Brandon Clark? Are you pleased with what you've seen so far in Orlando?
Well, very much so. First off, I think there have been a few cases that are just kind of popping up reported, and we're not sure when these players initially contracted it, but I saw like Eric Bledsoe, for example, with the Bucks tested positive. But in general, Dave, to your point, I am absolutely pleased. I am kind of waiting with bated breath, really hoping that as we move forward here, teams continue to practice and have full-on practices with no restrictions, which is happening right now in the bubble in Orlando. I was very hesitant because I'm afraid that players might start testing positive and are getting tested around the clock every day. And so, again, you talk about the ratio, could not be happier with how things are going, but I'm not quite at the point to say we're out of the woods in terms of no more testing positive in the bubble. Let's get this thing started. Let's see how we progress. I'm not one to say for sure this is going to be able to finish. It's just going to be a day-by-day, week-by-week process. But taking everything into consideration, I think everyone is very pleased, and my players are very comfortable. They have not lost their mind out of boredom. There's a lot to do. Think about this. I mean, you both know in a given NBA season, if players are not playing and they don't have families or they're on the road without their families, what are they doing? They're in a hotel room in front of their TV playing video games. They're doing the same thing in Orlando, and now they have the availability to go out and you can go to certain restaurants on campus. Some of our players, Joe Harris, went fishing the other day. Mason Plumlee is riding his bike around town. Jonte Porter gets out and walks around a little bit. So you can get out and about, and there's enough to keep the players busy. So I think everyone at first was a little bit hesitant, a little bit cautious going down there, and now everyone is much more comfortable. I just don't want to see players getting too complacent and too comfortable and then too relaxed with the protocols. And there's been a memo already sent out making sure players are reminded to wear a mask and social distance and do not bring outsiders into the bubble. So I think you almost have to treat it like you're in school. You have to continue to remind these players every single day what they need to be doing to stay safe. But if everyone's on the same page as we move forward here, I'm very optimistic about the start of the season here in less than 2 weeks and games to get underway here.
Yeah, have you had any of your players call you and say, look, Andy, this place is driving me crazy. Spring me from this. I got to get out of here.
Luckily not, knock on wood. Now, one team did report to Orlando last week that they had to quarantine for 2 days, and that was boring for a few players, but they also realized it's only 2 days. And a lot of the general managers I've talked with that are down there, those are really the bored ones. They're in their rooms all day just making phone calls and having Zoom interviews with draft prospects. They're not out and about doing things around the campus. They're without their families. So they want to sit there and bend my ear for 20 minutes at a time, which is fine. That's how you get deals done and get business done. But it's funny. I don't think the players for 1 second are bored and are unhappy down there.
Since you bring up the draft, where do you see Wiseman going? Where do you see Precious Achiuwa going?
Well, in terms of range, I still think Wiseman's going to be, let's call him a top 3, top 5 pick. I think some teams have expressed concern over LaMelo Ball and worry about his inefficient shooting and not being able to get in front of teams for individual workouts definitely hurt some players. Now, is it really going to hurt a guy like a Wiseman? No. You know what you're getting with him. Teams have done their research on a pick that is projected to go that high. So in terms of a range for James, I still have him in the top 3, top 5. I'm not sold on saying he's the number 1 overall pick. Obviously, if a team like Golden State secures the number 1 pick in the draft lottery later this summer, they could absolutely use a guy like James Wiseman, as could Cleveland with their front court. They could absolutely use a player like James Wiseman if they have the number 1 overall pick. So a lot of it is also who is drafting. And I think Precious, I think he's right in that lottery to top 20 mix. I think it depends on what teams you ask. It depends on which teams need a versatile wing like that. Some teams won't. So I think it's a combination of positional need versus are you going to take the best available player on the board there because you're a team that has a lot of need. Chicago will be an interesting spot for him. I think that Sacramento could also be an interesting spot for him. I think San Antonio could be an interesting spot for Precious. And these are all teams picking the lottery. So I think he falls at the end of the day somewhere in that 10 to 20 range.
Well, that doesn't surprise me for both of those players. I don't see the reluctance in James Wiseman. I only saw him one night, but it was quite a night. Only 3 games with the Tigers. The upside is really high on both of those players. On him, on Ball, on Anthony Edwards. I mean, you can run the gamut of scenarios where each of these players goes number 1. I don't think this is a year where you're going to have some sort of sleeper all of a sudden projected to be 7 or 8 pop up into the top 3. I think there's the way a lot of teams think about the draft, right? They have it in a tiered system. They have the top guys in their first tier, and that is typically the top 3 to 5. Then you've got that second tier, anywhere between like up until 5 all the way to the end of the lottery. And then you've kind of got that third tier, which is typically that 15 to 30 back half of the first round range. And then you go into the second round, you have it tiered off kind of in the early part of the second, mid-second, late second. So within each of those tiers, my point is each team has a number of players ranked, and the rankings will vary. Just like I said, it's based on positional need. Do you have a Brandon Clark this year? Do you represent someone that could be like him last year? I think so. I think we've got a couple I'd like to say. I think we have a player like a Jordan Nwora who could be anywhere in that 20 to 35 range. Sure. The athletic player from Louisville.
I don't think we'll have anyone that is quite as rated as that high, but I think a guy like Jordan could be a beauty in the eye of the beholder pick, where he could go as early as the late teens. I think he's probably going to fit somewhere more in that 20 to 35 range. What I like to pride ourselves on, with my agency, Priority Sports, we, in this industry, don't tend to do what a lot of agents do to get these top 3 to 5 players, and I'm not going to go into all of that. That's a conversation for another day. And we tend to make our bread and butter on the Brandon Clarks of the world, on the Dylan Windlers, the Ty Jeromes, the Jonte Porters, if you will, the Michael Porters, Joe Harris, guys who are going to be in that back half of the first round, early part of the second, but you look up 5 years down the road, you can't remember where they're drafted, you just know that they had a heck of an NBA career so far, and they're killing it, and they are talked about as a mid-level to max player, and they're a sustainable NBA player every single year. And that's what we really sharpen our teeth on, if you will. So I do think we'll have a number of those players who you look up 5 to 6 years down the road will be serviceable NBA players, rotational NBA players, much more than serviceable, but rotational. And just like every year, right, you see players drafted in the lottery that 3-4 years down the road, they're out of the league, they're out of the rotation. 5 or 6 years down the road, they might bounce around. I mean, an example is a Memphian, Cameron Payne. Cameron was a lottery pick coming out of Murray State. He had many opportunities in the NBA with Oklahoma City, with Chicago, went to camp last year with Toronto, and he keeps getting opportunities. And he most recently signed a 2-year deal with the Phoenix Suns to join them in Orlando. They're going to have the option to be able to kind of control him through training camp. But at the end of the day, nothing against Cameron. I think he's just kind of in that mix as a guy that's going to be hanging on by a thread in the NBA. And if not, he'll have some really good opportunities in Europe. It's just, there's a lot of those players. There's a lot every single year.
Give me what this bubble could mean for 2 Memphians. One, Chris Chiozza, who, of course, went to Florida. He's on the Nets, and I think he's a two-way guy, just like Jeremiah Martin, who's also on the Nets.
On the Nets,
both those guys, Memphians, and, of course, we all know Jeremiah Martin. This is basically his first year, his rookie year, and he's made it to Orlando, and I think that's pretty much against all odds. Could this be a turning point for his career? Or Chiozza's, for that matter?
I think with Chris first, Dave, he's going to have a huge opportunity because you got a team with the Nets. They're without Kyrie Irving due to the shoulder injury, without Spencer Dinwiddie, who's not even with the team in Orlando, and there are certain rules in place that restrict what available players teams can go out there and sign to replace players in Orlando or to serve as substitute players. And so the Nets are a little bit handcuffed in that respect. So I think Chris Chiozza is going to have a huge opportunity to perform and be on a great platform for Orlando, in Orlando rather, with Brooklyn. And I think Jeremiah Martin will also get some opportunity, and it's just they've kind of lucked out. They're on a team that has been depleted, whether it's due to injury, illness, whether it's due to players testing positive. I have one of my players, Justin Anderson, who's in the mix there to serve as a replacement player. They've had a lot of Michael Beasley, they signed as a replacement player, then he tests positive. Now he's not going to Orlando. So they're going to have to rely on these two-way players in Jeremiah Martin and Chris Chiozza and on these younger players who are signing as replacement players. I think players in those positions with the Nets, more so than any other team who's also signed replacement players, will really get a huge opportunity.
And ball starts 2 weeks from last night. I hope we get to it. I think we will. The NBA's to be commended. We have Andy, and when we get to playing games, we have just that tranche of games. We had Drew Hill on about an hour ago from the Daily Memphian. He had a really good comparison. Every day is going to be like the first Thursday and Friday of the NCAA tournament.
Oh, it'll be great.
For us, I mean, you're going to need 10 screens set up in your office.
Oh, it'll be great. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm going to have it up on the computer, and we have 2 TVs in our office, so we'll take advantage of that, just in my office alone. So, yes, you have to be a basketball junkie this time of year, and it's going to be really fun to watch. And just looking forward to it, just to get back into sports and really have a nice rotation of meaningful games heading into August and September when the playoffs will be starting. it'll be very exciting. It'll be very, for me as an agent, definitely a little bit nerve-wracking and hesitant if guys going out there are risking injury because they haven't played. And you saw that Zion Williamson had cramping. Of course, there's a story when Zion Williamson has cramping, which think about all the players that probably have that. But again, little things, little nagging injuries that are going to crop up here because players have been sitting at home without access to a full-on gym for so long. That will happen, and that makes me a little bit nervous. But I'm glad we've had this downtime now to kind of ease into full-on practices leading up to games like you talked about coming up here at the end of the month. So all that aside, though, yes, it'll be very exciting to see so many meaningful games throughout the day, throughout the night in Orlando.
I think as the calendar potentially could set up, down here, the famed third Saturday in October, we know that means Bama and UT in football. I think on that third Saturday in October, I think this is right, we could very well be having an NBA Finals game and a World Series game, or at least an LCS game, on the same day. 2020, man.
Wow. Wait. When's the Ryder Cup? Oh, the Ryder Cup.
Scrapped.
It got scrapped. That's right. Wow.
But
that could have happened at the same time.
That day.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Yeah, you're right.
I don't want to overdo it.
Let's get to 2 weeks from now.
To get back into reality, and I'm curious if you've pondered this at this point. We learned yesterday that Philadelphia is saying no fans in stands until 2021, March of really almost April of 2021. So if that's a 40% revenue stream, like we've all been told, fans and concessions, what will that do to further contracts and rookie setups for this draft? What's the discussion like between Players Association and Adam Silver on all of this?
Well, first off, obviously all of that definitely impacts basketball-related income, which is the main driver of the money teams have to spend through the NBA salary cap, which is passed on through NBA player salaries, including rookie salaries, and that will all continue to be negotiated up till September 10th. I think the current conversation, Dave, is that there's a growing likelihood that the upcoming salary cap might actually just remain stagnant and not change at all either way, but with certain exceptions where teams have a certain amount of money to exceed the salary cap to spend on different players, those might decrease. And then heading into next season, if in fact we play a significant portion of next season, which let's just hope there is a next season at this point, without fans, and you remove the entire gate revenue from the 2021 season, then I think you'll see a drastic drop, unfortunately, in spending via the NBA salary cap. I think right now, though, it'll be more how to tweak the ability for teams to go out and sign certain players at a certain price, but keeping the actual salary cap intact. Either way, it's not trending in the right direction, the direction that my players would want it to, nor I want it to. And I absolutely, from talking with many people, we're all of the belief that if there is a start of the 2021 season, it will be without fans. No one's thinking there will be fans. I think college sports are definitely in trouble. I don't know how they're going to be able to construct a season, whether it's, I know some conferences I think have already scrapped their non-conference games. I just don't know how that's going to work. And then if you completely eliminate college sports and college basketball, which is unfortunately something we have to discuss, how will that impact the NBA season? Will there be an NBA season? So I'm less concerned right now about what the cap numbers and the finances will look like next season, more concerned about let's just get to next season.
Surviving.
Yeah. It's a concern. It's a concern among players, and players understand what's at stake. They understand salaries will be decreasing, wherever that might be. And, for example, we've already kicked around ideas. What if we have players that stay in the draft, and there will be a draft, but then there is no season? At that point in time, Europe will have already started. Do these players entertain the idea of going over to Europe in November or December, which is a hard thing to do as a rookie you're talking about a 20, 21, 22-year-old kid going from college, not having played a full-on basketball game since February or March, and now stepping in mid-season to a competitive situation in Europe. These are all ideas we've talked about as a staff for our players.
What about the COVID in Europe? Are they further along to recovery than we are?
Absolutely. And I don't need to be any sort of scientist to say that. I just, everything I see, read, hear, talk to people on the ground over there.
Yeah.
I mean, life is back to normal out of these places. So much so, and I hate to say this, and it makes my job harder, but the European Union has closed off its borders as of now to any American citizens going over there. And so you think about a basketball player that signs over in Europe, well, how is he going to get over there if the borders are closed? If you have a valid work visa and a residence permit, you're able to get into the country. But if you don't have that, and the teams that you sign with are unable to get that for you, it could be problematic. So, you know, we always talk about on this show a lot of the Memphis players, and Lester Hudson finishing up in China. He's still in Memphis. His team in China really, really wants to find a way to get him over to China, even though the borders are closed. Another player yesterday, his team in China sent him a private jet and flew him over to China in a private jet and somehow got him through all of the restrictions. And so I'm thinking that might happen for Lester and for a lot of the other American players trying to go over there to finish out the Chinese basketball season. So just things you never thought you'd be doing as an agent, right? Trying to navigate all of these border issues and passport and visa issues and just dealing with these teams and trying to really get your players to understand the logistics of entering a country that might otherwise be impossible and the benefits of trying to take less money in a deal now because of the state of the world right now, both on the European side, the NBA side, and trying to manage this whole pre-draft process without any sort of team workouts, without the ability to bring our players to Chicago to train for the draft, and trying to keep them fresh at the same time while the draft is still 3 months away with no concrete plans of an NBA combine as of today. There's a lot of uncertainty, and it keeps me on my toes, I'll say that much.
I bet. I would love to know, what is the cost of a private airplane from China to the United States?
Probably my salary for the year. I do not know, but it's definitely expensive. That's
Not
for
cheap.
sure. But and the players who play, the player that they sent the jet for, plays on the first place team over there. It just shows you the mindset of these teams. You would think, you know what, we're in good shape, we're in first place, we don't need to spend this money. No, they want to absolutely be sure they can win a championship.
They want to win.
I like that. I like that attitude. All right, my friend, stay healthy. We'll do this again next week. We'll be a week closer to playing games. And
Let's right.
just hope that bubble stays clean. That's all I can say.
Intact. Absolutely. Have a good weekend, guys.
Andy, you have had the good timing. You kind of had to repair back home to Memphis, and we were kind of safer then than we are now. Then you go back to Chicago, and Chicago's kind of safer now than it was then. We need to be hanging with you.
Yeah.
Come on, there's enough room here in Chicago. We'll go get some pizza. But no, I feel safe being up here. Everyone's complying and taking it seriously, and it's interesting. You know, Chicago, as you know, it is a very walkable city, and outside of downtown Memphis, you don't see that much. And so it's interesting here in Chicago, even walking outside, 95% of the people are wearing masks outside.
Should be.
Is there a Lou Malnati's in walkable distance?
I already went there last Sunday. Of course there is.
In Olive Branch at All-Star, where all the Chevys are, Blazers, Equinox, Impalas, Camaros, and the all-new 2021 Tahoe. Yeah, make that turn to 2021. Do it in that Tahoe. Row after row after row at All-Star. They've delivered for Chevy's huge open road sale up to 15% off, thousands in cash back for you. Check out the certified pre-owned Chevys. If you want a specific pre-owned car or truck, tell them what you want. They'll find it, and they'll get it to All-Star as fast as they can. Best financing for everybody. No matter what Chevy you're looking for, they've got it at All-Star Chevrolet in Olive Branch. They're there to make sure you're safe while you get the best deal, have more fun, and do it in record time. That's job number one for everyone at All-Star. Remember, it's not South Haven, it's not Collierville, it's not the Pike. It's got to be Olive Branch. See them all online at allstarautogroup.com or find new roads to All-Star Chevy on Kraft Goodman Road in Olive Branch.
This portion of the show also brought to you by the Spirit Shop. Okay, for Brett and I, we're about half an hour away from the weekend. I know you want to stock
Dave's
up.
really been drinking since 3, everybody. No.
Well, I knew you'd be here. I'd have to see you in person. This is the only way I could make it.
You had to sauce yourself up. You had to inoculate yourself from me. Thanks, Dave. I won't be back for 3 weeks now.
You're just happy. Xander Schauffele.
That's
somehow,
Drew's guy. That's Drew's guy, Xander Schauffele.
Oh, that's Goose.
Tiger Woods made the cut, too.
Tiger Woods did make the cut?
Yes, sir.
Oh, my gosh. Well, I'm happy for Tiger. I really am.
So have a toast for me for Tiger.
I will do that, and you know where I'm going to get my Spirit to toast? At the Spirit Shop. I promise you, this is the place to go. You like friendly family service? Nobody's going to beat Eddie Connor, nor his daughter. I'm telling you, this is family-owned and operated since 1969. They've been serving not just East Memphis, but everybody, because Eddie reaches out to you to try and help you. You got a question, an education thing that you want to learn more about any particular spirit, from wine to beer to bourbon to tequila to vodka. He's seen it all, knows it all. You're looking for that obscure wine that's going to be a comer in a couple of years that you can get cheap now, and you're going to wow your friends in 5 years as you save it. Oh, Eddie Connor is the guy. You're just looking for a good beer right now or an accessory. They've got everything. You passed it by a million times right there at Poplar and St. Nick, 4848 Poplar, just down from Clark Tower. It's that little log cabin. Well, it looks little on the outside. On the inside, there's a lot of stock. Now, because it's so close quarters and there's so much in there, it's all curbside. But he makes it easy. You call in advance, tell him what you want, or just come curbside and order. And Eddie or somebody, they got a little tent set up in front. They will bring it to you. They make it easy for you. Time to stock up for the weekend. You've got to head to the Spirit Shop. Heck yeah. Hell no. That's next on Sports Time.
Search Sports 56 on Facebook and give us a like. And follow us on Twitter at Sports 56 WHBQ.
These are tough times for everyone, so dealing with your timeshare may not be your biggest concern. But when this passes, do you still want a lifetime of payments, fees, and commitments for a timeshare you were misled into buying?
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, CEO and founder of Wesley Financial Group. 10 years ago, I started the timeshare cancellation industry by exposing the ugly truth about timeshares and giving folks the straight facts. I've been fighting the timeshare giants ever since, so no one knows this industry better than me and my team. Today, we have over 200 employees and have saved our clients an average of $65,000 in lifetime payments. Imagine putting those timeshare dollars back in your pocket. Give my office a call today. I guarantee if we take you as a client, we will cancel your timeshare contract or you'll pay nothing.
Call Wesley Financial now for your free information kit. 800-967-7711. That's 800-967-7711. 800-967-7711.
Are you interested in making 18 to 25% returns buying tax liens? Or acquiring tax forfeited property for 50 to 70% off market value to flip for cash profits? Then listen to this. The Tax Lien Wealth Builders Company is offering their new book for free. Just text INVEST to 72000 right now. Get this free book and learn their strategies that people use to buy tax liens, tax certificates, or tax deeds to build their investment portfolio, just working a few hours a week in your pajamas at your home. With the right knowledge, you can point, click, and start buying tax liens with 18 to 25% returns anywhere in the U.S. that are completely secured by the government. So, if you're looking to become a real estate investor without getting dirty fixing up houses or unclogging toilets, then text INVEST to 72000 now to get your free book and get ready to see how fast you can receive your first or next tax lien paycheck. Text INVEST to 72000. That's text INVEST to 72000 for your free book now. Individual results may vary.
Did you know that right now Geico is offering an extra 15% credit on car, motorcycle, and RV policies?
That's 15% on top of the money Geico could already save you. So what are you waiting for? Your dog to make you breakfast in bed with Belgian waffles and fresh fruit compote? As nice as that sounds, that's probably never going to happen. But at least there's never been a better time to switch to Geico. Save an extra 15% when you switch to Geico by October 7th. Visit geico.com to learn more.
Welcome back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Waldo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brett Norsworthy.
Sometimes even in a pandemic, when you do have limited sports, you see irony. So you just told me that Tiger Woods, your pick, made the cut. Do you know how he made the cut? Do you know what the reason why he made the cut was? You're going to love this. I'm just going to tell you. It's the quintuple bogey. DeChambeau's quintuple bogey moved Tiger from 66 to tie 64.
Oh, it makes it even better.
That is what got him to make it.
Beefcake's got both of us in. That's why only reason Xander Schauffele made it in, too.
So, Xander Schauffele shot a 69. He kicked the door down. 78, 69. What an improvement.
Well, he's a heck of a player.
Feels like a major's soon for him.
I think so. My guy, can you imagine that? My guy, he's the hottest dude around. He's hitting 423-yard drives. And he's the reason you guys both get in?
But this week,
he
tugged on Superman's cape not once but twice. Went after Tiger.
He did.
And also a little not combative with, but certainly not coddling of Jack Nicklaus.
Well, I don't know about that one. He's a surly guy. He's already complained.
He leads with his chin.
He's complaining. Mm-hmm. He all of a sudden he gets this attention, which is making him money up the yin-yang. He gets this attention, and now he's complaining he does not want the microphones near him and his caddy.
We talked about it while you were away.
Because he acted like a baby.
He acted like a baby, and the cameraman, guess what the cameraman was doing?
His job.
Filming him playing golf.
That is correct. No, he's got some bad stuff about him. He's like the mad genius, and there is some madness to him. But
he's daily with a brain.
Daily with a brain. That might be accurate. I do know this though. You and Drew are both in because my guy had a 10.
Well,
a 10.
I hate it, don't you, Drew?
On a par 5.
I really do, but if Dave really wants to think that there's a conspiracy going on around him, this is his best evidence right here, that we paid off Beefcakes to get us in.
We can't even put that on Ted, can we?
No, we can't.
This is on me. This is on me trusting the wrong people. That's all I could say. It's time, ladies and gentlemen, for the ever-popular Heck Yeah, Hell No.
Heck yeah! Hell no. All right, going to start it off right out of the gate. Will Ole Miss and UNLV remove Rebels as their official mascot anytime soon?
You know, beauty and offensiveness or lack thereof it's all in the eye of the beholder. UNLV years ago, really mid to late 70s under Tark, they were smart in that they knew going forward they might have something potentially or very obviously that could be offensive, and they got out there with running ribs, and they were one of the first real track meet teams. You know, Tark, one of his great teams was the 77 Final Four team down in Atlanta at the Omni. They didn't win it all, and then he had another Final Four team in the 80s down in New Orleans in 87, and they didn't win it then. Then he finally got his. But I can see the potential issue for both of them. Now I'm here to say I know administration and heart and soul people of Ole Miss. It is no offensiveness meant, but it may be taken, and that may be enough in these times. But I will fight this to the end. Some people have glommed on to the use of the term Ole Miss, that it goes back to plantation antebellum times. That is pure garbage. And I will fight for that to the last breath, because it is not accurate. It is not historically accurate. I love all the people that they know all the buzzwords. Well, I don't know those. And they know all the code words. Well, I don't know all the code words. They know all the secret handshake. I don't. And they hear a dog whistle on good morning. I don't. That term for Ole Miss was affectionately derived from students loving their time there. Nothing to do with plantation misses.
That is really interesting, because I always thought that it was a name of affection for either the state or the school.
It was
Ole Miss.
The Times.
But now I have heard other intellectuals who have bantered back and forth, saying that the ma'am of the plantation during slave times was called Ole Miss. That was their conjecture. I don't really know. Here's what I think will happen. I don't know about the University of Mississippi ever dropping Ole Miss, but I do think for Rebels. Now, one thing you did not say was, you said anytime soon. You have to define for me anytime soon.
Next 3 years.
I would say hell no to that, but I would say I do think
it'll be looked at.
That within 10 years, examined. Within 10 years, that there will be enough pressure probably put on by student athletes and their attitudes in recruiting that will force coaches to ask the school to change the name.
Yeah, and on the term, on the diploma, anybody that gets a diploma from Oxford, from their years in school at Ole Miss, it says University of Mississippi on it. It's why some, I think it's derisive to say Mississippi. And Drew, I told you years ago, never bothered me. That's what's on the diploma. But the almost hijacking of that term, I will push back against.
I will say this, though. When I first arrived here in 81, started doing stuff for Channel 13, when I referred to them as the University of Mississippi, and there were plenty of University of Mississippi grads in the building, they immediately came to me, I mean multiples, and said, no. Refer to it as Ole Miss.
Yeah, kind of for the university writ large, it is the University of Mississippi. For when you get to campus and the teams, it is affectionately and lovingly, and I sure share that and have an Ole Miss shirt on right now. Ole Miss.
Next.
All right, next question. This goes back to what y'all were talking with Bruce Marshall about running back duos. And would D'Angelo Williams and Jonathan Stewart be a top 10 running back duo?
One.
Funny that you said that, because I was thinking of that while Bruce Marshall was talking.
We got to bring it up.
I was going to bring it up, but I wanted to save it for my own heck.
Well, they
are. You look out for yourself, huh?
They are the number one and number two running backs in the history.
And they were great with each other, both of them. You know, I don't know exactly what kind of physical shape they're in, but both appear to be post-football in pretty good shape.
Exactly.
And they can thank the other one for it.
They were good with each other, and they were good for each other because they absolutely elongated each career. D'Angelo lasted, was it 10 years, 11 years?
Had a great career.
And Stewart lasted, I think, 1 year longer.
And I mean this lovingly. If we had a hall of really damn good, D'Angelo would be in it. But he's not going to the Hall of Fame.
No.
But he was really good. The Hall of really good.
He's going to the College Football Hall of Fame.
He's
still the number one all-time all-purpose yardage player in the history of the NCAA. So he's going to that hall. He may not go to the NFL Hall. He's going to the Carolina Panther Hall with Stewart, and I say heck yeah. You're echoing, correct?
Yes. Oh, yeah. Heck yes.
Next.
I think I said hell yes, but sometimes I forget the jargon of this bit.
Well, that happens when you get a little older.
Sorry. And on Friday, I was kind of mailing in, didn't prepare.
Yeah, only 20 minutes. You just got to mail it in.
You know what? He spent all that time. He usually preps. He had to travel here today. That's what did him in.
That's it.
Yeah.
All right, next question, especially with everything going on with Dan Snyder and the Washington franchise. If an owner is forced to sell their team by a professional league, should they be allowed to sell it at market value?
Well, heck yes. Yeah, I mean, I don't think you can go in and raid somebody's coffers. We're not
But
down
I mean,
to that,
really,
are we?
what's the punishment? I mean, Snyder's going to make
You're
billions
out,
of
you're
dollars.
out of the club. You're out of the long-term benefit of it, worth, let's say, $2 billion now, and it's going to be worth $5 billion in 10 years. And I don't know about his heirs, but for somebody like Jerry Jones said the day he bought the Cowboys, he wanted somebody named Jones running that team in 100 years. Daniel Snyder's not going to get that.
No, and you join that. Other than some of the originals like the Rooneys and the Hallises, now McCaskies,
the Maras,
they did not have the kind of money that they now have. But it's a different ballgame now. Those people who acquire teams already have money. They do it for the prestige.
Those people made their money off of football.
That is the punishment. And I must say, Daniel Snyder, even though he was the leader while all this was going on, probably guilty of turning his head. In all 15 of these stories of harassment, he is never named in any one of those. I am not sure that the National Football League will be able to force Daniel Snyder to sell that team. He's not named in any one of those complaints. So I don't believe there's enough clout at this point.
You don't think it rises to Donald Sterling?
I don't think it will.
Or Jerry Richardson?
I don't think it will. Even though I think he's a terrible owner and not a very good human being, it seems. But when you've got the evidence that they just showed and 15 people coming forward, but none of them name him, I don't see where you can force him to sell.
Boy, and it really proved once again the great side of it. The cloud of FedEx. I mean, FedEx, it has worked hard, very hard, to be, I think, the greatest company in the world. And when they had enough of them, that's when it really turned.
It sure seemed to me, in just reading all the things in between the lines, I think for years now, Fred Smith has asked Daniel Snyder, either let me buy the team, I want you to change the name. Finally, he had it. This was it. So it was the day of reckoning for Snyder. No question about that. Next.
All right. Next question. With the news from Shelby County today about allowing fans at 901 FC games July 25th, would you go? Would you be one of the 1,000 people at AutoZone Park?
Heck no, I wouldn't. Mostly for this reason. There are bigger fans that need that limited spot for me, and there are more important media that would really have an actual practical usage of being in a limited area than I would. I want Memphis 901 to do well, blockbuster, sell out every time, win every game. It's not my sport. It's not my sport. It's not going to be my sport, but I want it to do well, and I feel like I would be taking up real estate that I don't really need to be there for.
Here, I have to answer this as both, and I'll explain why. Heck no, I would not go as a fan because I'm 67 years old, and even though I'm really healthy, that would be putting, I think, me at a risk I'm not willing to take. Heck yes, because I may at some point this year do games on television. So in a press box, doing my job, which I need to do to pay my bills, I am willing
I got a little extra cash if you need it,
to take that risk. No, I don't need your cash at this point as long as I get these games.
I got you. If you don't get these games, I'll sign you to a promissory note.
Okay, that'll be good. No, so
Drew, you in good shape? You need a promissory note?
That's the
I'll let you know.
Okay.
That's the differential. I would do that, but and honestly, I would feel really safe enough if I even had to do it in the stands, if that were the way it worked, because with 1,000 people in that place,
Dave,
and every one of them wearing masks, and everyone has taken their temperature and had whatever medical screening they're going to do, then I would feel comfortable enough to do that.
Dave, you remember how they did the press box setup for the XFL kind of out in the stands?
Yeah.
Especially for the announced team, Drake and Zeke?
Right.
There's some conversation being given in SEC places of maybe moving people down there and a little more spread out and not in the traditional tight quarters that a lot of these places are.
Well, a lot of people are being innovative. I don't know if you saw this, but Rice University, where it costs you $50,000 a year to go and attend, it's one of the great scholastic institutions in America. Rice University is talking about building tents outside to have classes because they think it would be safer. Last one before we run out of time. These have been terrific.
All right, last question. And just so you know, that is the only time I will allow the both answer. Okay? I will allow it today, but going forward, it will not be allowed. Yes, I did.
Oh, I'm getting sick. I am watching this 10 by Bryson DeChambeau.
Watch every stroke of it.
It's the stupidest thing I've seen. Gosh.
Y'all ready for the last one?
Yes.
All right. The state of Georgia has decided that it will use a 30-second shot clock in high school basketball by 2022-23. Should every state start using a shot clock in high school?
Hell no. Hell no, Dave. No. Let each state decide what they want, and if the good people of Vermont want a 92-second shot clock, that's their business. If the good people of Montana want an 8-second shot clock, their business. And if the good people of Tennessee don't want a shot clock, let them decide.
I say heck yes, because the game is a whole lot better when there's a 30-second shot clock instead of just holding the ball and playing the game the way it really doesn't need to be played. I liked college basketball when I was growing up, and they didn't have a shot clock. But then I loved college basketball.
One of the best games I've ever watched was 39-38 Arkansas over Texas.
You don't want to go back there, do you?
Not really.
Okay.
Not at all.
And
no.
I don't think high schoolers should either. And it's just a better game.
But I would rather see a methodical pace than a bunch of jacked up, bad shots.
Okay, I'll give you 40 seconds. If you can't get a good shot in 40 seconds, you shouldn't be playing the game. You need a new coach.
I'd rather rip my eyes out than watch four-corner basketball again.
I'm with you.
But remember, I like a tie in football.
Well, we will remember that. This portion of the show is brought to you by Homer. Homer Skelton Hyundai in Olive Branch, home of a limited lifetime powertrain warranty on every new vehicle. And they got vehicles, although they're starting to – they've done so well. There are some businesses, the golf business and Homer Skelton has just done so well in this pandemic. It's because they're really good at what they do. And the team that they have had together, they have together for years. And then we got the product, the Hyundai Tucson. I always talk about my Santa Fe or my wife's Santa Fe. I've had a Santa Fe before. Now, of course, I got the Genesis cars. But this Tucson, it's a little bit smaller than the SUV that you would get. It's a compact, as opposed to the bigger one, the Santa Fe. This one, number one ranked by J.D. Power for initial quality. How about the Veloster? That's a little smaller, the compact sporty car. That's number one ranked by J.D. Power for initial quality. And their pre-owned cars, they're incredible. Ray Melton's over that department. They will give you, on certain vehicles, up to 100,000-mile powertrain warranty on a pre-owned car. I can't tell you what that means. And Hyundai is tied for the most number of top safety pick vehicles in 2020. I always talk about their technology. I talk performance, but the first thing I say, safest cars you ever own. You push a button, and you can't move into somebody. I mean, it's terrific. All you got to do is get on Highway 78. That's Lamar. You get to the first exit in Mississippi, Craft Road, turn left, you'll be there. You will be there at the standard for the car business, I think. It's Homer Skelton Hyundai and Genesis of Olive Branch. Our final timeout, and when we return, it'll be time for Crunch Time.
Spend your lunch with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy on Sports 56 Middays, delivered by FedEx. Weekdays from 10 to 1 on Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
Hi, I'm Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roofing. Do you have any idea why I never speak the way I am right now? It's because if you're honest, sincere, and knowledgeable, you do not need fast-talking, high-energy, gimmick-promising advertising to get a customer's attention. Speaking of that, how do you think companies can offer huge rebates and giveaways when you use their services or buy their products? By overcharging you in the first place, that's how. Fiveash Roofing doesn't operate that way. It's misleading and dishonest. When I provide a customer with the best products and the best service possible and do it at a fair price, why would I need gimmicks to sell it? Best products, best warranties, and best service possible. That's all we offer. Well, that and financing. 5 Roofing, proud partner of the Memphis Tigers and the official roofer of the Memphis Tigers home team. 5 Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
5 Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Start your day at Sunrise Memphis. Located in Midtown, enjoy delicious biscuit sandwiches and all their menu has to offer with quick and easy to-go and delivery options. Whether it's breakfast, brunch, or lunch, don't distance yourself from great food. For more information on Sunrise Memphis, visit sunrise901.com or call 901-552-3144 to place your order. Stay healthy and eat Sunrise Memphis today.
Summertime and the living is easy. No more cutting or paying utilities. Literally, you guys, Town Village Audubon Park, nestled in the heart of East Memphis, located corner of Park and Cherry, is a beautiful residential neighborhood. Looking for a great place to retire, but you still have a very active lifestyle? Then visit Town Village. Only requirements that you're 55 plus. Prices per month starting at $24.50. The Gourmet Chef welcomes you to visit our restaurant and bistro. Package includes 3 complimentary meals per day, maid service, free local transportation, monthly coffee club, themed dinner parties, lots of fun. Visit us and call Daniel or Bo at Town Village Audubon Park at 901-374-7342. There's no place like home. Town Village Audubon Park.
Ugh. My stomach.
Don't worry, I've got you covered.
When you have nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea.
What's that?
It's Pepto-Bismol Chews.
Pepto-Bismol's now in a chew?
Yeah, they taste great and provide fast relief. And now you can always have Pepto-Bismol handy.
Let me try it.
Try new Pepto-Bismol Chews for fast relief.
Nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea.
Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Welcome back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Waldo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brett Norsworthy.
Final portion of our Friday brought to you by Conway Services, heating, cooling, plumbing, electric, and the home of a great giveaway right now. Still going on this month. If you buy a new Carrier Infinity system, you mean you're going to get into 2020, get efficiency and all that other good stuff and be cool. $1,500 gift card. Now, if your system has 2 units, we're talking $3,000 in Visa cards, and you get an April air cleaner free. That gets the dust out of your house. A 10-year parts warranty free. The coolest, and I've seen these things, Nest thermostats. Latest technology, that's part of the deal. Free, and they got payment plans as low as $139 a month. John is making right now the perfect time to get to 2020 and get that Carrier Infinity system. All you got to do is call 384-3511. That's the number to Conway. It's crunch time.
5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes!
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy!
This is for all the biggest crunch time.
You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that?
Take questions again for the student athletes at this time, please.
What's happening, big dog? How you doing?
Is this thing working?
It's obviously crunch time. Hammer, nail, coffin. This baby is over.
Woo!
Time for Taco Bell Crunch Time. Taco Bell, home of the crispy tortilla chips, topped with a double portion of either seasoned beef or shredded chicken, plus refried beans, nacho cheese sauce, reduced fat sour cream, guacamole, and a 3-cheese blend. Nachos Bel Grande, heaping portion of chips, topped with ground beef, tomatoes, beans, nacho cheese sauce, and a dollop of sour cream. Taco Bell, home to great food you get on your way home real fast, and they bring you crunch time every day. Dave, I learned today I'm moving my college football forecast from a 1 to a 2. They sure are trying. The SEC, even with a 5-2 type plan, they're trying for something. We'll see.
Well, it's like Laird Veach said yesterday. You got to have plans after plans after, like
Laird gave me hope yesterday.
Yeah, he did. Me too. I learned today game developer EA Sports will alter the release of their Madden NFL 21 to remove logos and the name Washington Redskins, and they got to do it quick because their release is coming out on August 25th. Could we see this year, because of the tie-up of all these trademarks, that they're just Washington NFL?
You could. You sure could, Dave. In these times, you could see anything. Could have done without in these times. And sometimes people end up being exactly who you thought they were. Daniel Snyder's that guy.
I could have done without this story. James Harden wore a face mask. I don't think he intended to do it. That's what he said. He didn't realize he wore a blue line face mask. He says it fits his beard. Some people thought it was in support of law enforcement. It's like Blue Lives Matter as opposed to Black Lives Matter, and it's supposed to be sort of a knock on Black Lives Matter. I don't think he meant to do that. That story was not the best.
I don't know all the symbols these days, but I understand that they're important. We'll watch a lot, including Tiger at the Memorial and Jordan Spieth. What if you hit the old double-double?
That's what I'm hoping for now that my man got your guys in, and with a 10, he got himself. Can you imagine a pro with a 10? That's just hard to fathom. That'll do it for us. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Frontier Western Store is open and ready to